Hello and welcome to the second game in our Academy playoffs. It is Evil Geniuses Academy versus 100 Thieves Academy. I'm Julian Patriot-Damkar and I'm joined today by Alberto Crumbs Rengifo. Crumbs, how are we feeling after 5 LCS games? We potentially have 5 more for Academy.
You could say I was waiting all day for this pastry.
Yeah, I think we could say that too, but excited to be here for the series, for sure.
Yeah, Kenvi gets to make his playoff debut. What a jump from this guy, from just not even being on the team to suddenly being on 100 Thieves Academy and now playing playoffs, looking really good. So it's going to be an exciting day.
Well, let's take a look, of course, at the bracket and see kind of how we got to this situation. Of course, we've already had one series completed after CLG's victory yesterday, which was 5 games. They'll be headed into our semi-finals alongside either TSM or Cloud9. And, of course, the winner of today's best of 5 will join them there in the second round of playoffs. As a reminder, Academy has our, I guess, more traditional 16 playoffs rather than the 18 we're seeing in the LCS. So hopefully a format that you all at home are a bit more used to.
That was a really surprising win from CLG because the Guardians looked so good in the regular season, especially towards the back half. They were one of the teams that did not make any roster changes, so we thought surely they'll get back up there. But CLG, this is a Cinderella story. So much credit to Moon has to be given when a team makes only one change and goes from last to playoffs 4th at least. Impressive stuff.
Yeah, as a reminder, Moon might be a name that's familiar to you. He was a player. He is now the coach of CLG Academy and clearly doing the right things behind the scenes there. Speaking of 5s, though, for playoffs, we'll be comparing team speed throughout this split against each other in the Samsung SSD Fast 5. So let's have a look at these stats. First blood for EG 100 Thieves are actually 2nd and 3rd place for the fastest first blood in the league.
Yeah, not bad. First blood, it might get changed up since we've already seen the teams go for experimental level 1s, which can obviously diminish that time significantly.
Certainly can. And on the other side, 100 Thieves actually has the fastest first tower of any of these teams. While their opponents have the slowest. So we'll see how that works out. Certainly some different speeds there on the side there for each. You have struggled a little bit, but let's dive a little bit deeper into this matchup, Crumbs. Since bringing Kenvi in, the man that everyone is excited to see this playoffs, 100 Thieves have gone 4-1 with their only loss being a very close one versus IMT.
Yeah, Kenvi is a really exciting story for 100 Thieves because they had tried Meteos. Meteos departs the team. Kenvi comes up and actually looks like he's a contracts kind of jungler where he's being very aggressive with his marksman junglers, and the loss that they suffered to IMT was actually the one where he was playing Trundle, but he was still having a really solid game, and we just want to show that game to showcase that they actually just played 5 very close games since he joined their team. So this is a team that is, in my opinion, on a pretty hot streak right now.
Yeah, 100 Thieves looking strong. I mean, this is the team that's already won a championship. Certainly, after a lot of changes this season, are looking good here in the playoffs. And Kenvi, stocks are on the rise, so I think you better get your chips in now if you do want to purchase some, because this is a player that doesn't seem like he's showing any signs of slowing down. And with that in mind, how will the LCS prospect of Kenvi potentially compete with the LCS jungler or former LCS jungler in Ando, who had a fantastic spring for EG, but just hasn't looked as good, Crumbs?
Yeah, and it's exciting that Anda was also on the 100 Thieves winning lineup before, so I think that adds a little bit of spice that he was the jungler for someday. And I think the big difference that you can see with these junglers is that EG really needs Anda to pop off. His kill participation is so high, and yes, he's very involved, but that also means that the team is not doing a whole lot without him. The lanes going through so many switches in the top lane as well as the bottom lane, trying so many different champions, is not letting them get as many kills as they would like to be, compared to 100 Thieves that have Fake God, trying to mimic some of what Someday had last year. And then you have Prismal, who tends to pop off here and there. And don't forget that Soligo has also been having some pretty phenomenal moments in his career in this split. Yeah,
especially Soligo feels empowered by Kenvi being moves onto the team as a player that is also trying to make his way back into the LCS, and kind of comparing Fake God to the new top laner of Evil Genius Academy, although not new certainly to this league. It's Kumo, who has been just not the same as Huni, and I think the absence has been tough for them to fill because, again, EG, they have all the pieces, Crumbs, but they just don't seem to put them all together. And with Kumo in the lineup, on the tanks he looks great, and on the not tanks he looks not so great, and it's kind of that simple.
Yeah, that's kind of the story for Kumo that has been for a while, where he's a lot better on the weak side, not a lot of resources. Give me the Poppy, give me the Shen, give me the set. Just try to survive, whereas if you put him on the carries, it's a lot harder to translate those into wins. Partially his play, but partially the team. It's very difficult for a team to play with a carry or with a top. You even see players like Someday in LCS not picking a carry the whole time. There's definitely a time and place for it.
Yep, but I think EG, again, as we've said, despite how hot 100 Thieves have looked recently, there is certainly room here for EG to go back to the finals again and potentially even win the title if they have cleaned things up here in the postseason. Granted, best of fives are very different, Crumbs, so we'll see what happens here, but I would expect these teams to be pretty well prepared as we'll get ourselves into Champion Select for game number 1. Azir going to be taken off the table. That is often a champion that you do not want to give over to Soligo.
Yeah, and starting things off by putting Soligo off a comfort pick is no new strategy. Soligo, when it comes down to him being picked up, oh my god, even Ziggs as well. They're just trying to make sure that mid does not have a good time. But I also think it could be targeted at Prismal. It can be run in the bottom lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 100 Thieves are the team that's done that, actually. One of the teams in the Academy has done that this split, and I think it might have been 100 Thieves, so definitely a bit of double duty there on the ban for EG, if I'm remembering things correctly.
It was Dig.
It was Dig? I think you might be right. Anyway, a team has done it, certainly a thing. Ziggs did get buffed again in this patch. He's even better at tearing down towers and champions with his passive getting upgraded, so certainly a lot of power over there. I'll see how the rest of this draft shakes out in just a few. It does seem like mid lane is going to be where the attention is, and I think that's important on the EG side, just because Gyu was a player we didn't know much about in spring, and we learned a lot in a short amount of time in the season he did play, and then of course in the playoffs where they did look so good moving towards finals. And Crumbs, he just hasn't had the same impact in games this split, despite starting, and being in the country and playing with the team full time. It's not been the same since the metagame has shifted, it's felt like.
You're right. It has been a little odd because when we first saw him, he was playing, Kiana, Akali, Irelia primarily. He was all about melee, assassins in the mid lane, just being very aggressive and really just fighting you non-stop. And now, where this year, he's really trying to expand his champion pool and trying to really just play as many different champions as he can just to get a feel for what is best for him. So I'm just getting the sense that he's trying to branch out his champion pool into a more well-rounded player, and as a result it's not really syncing with the rest of EG, as the rest of the team is also changing players around, where you had Kumo before and now you have, Huni before, and now you've got Kumo. But on the bright side, you have Anda, who is a very proficient carry player, and they're going to rely on him here once again, giving him the Nidalee and the Ashe Hawk shots to help out his counter jungling.
Yeah, pretty interesting start to this draft. First pick, Ezreal overall here, so not wanting to take this Ashe potentially there for Prismal. That, of course, does mean Ashe over for Deathly, and Nidalee there for Anda, which is a very aggressive choice. Set and Orianna, very standard champions on the Thieves side, but I will see what EG have to offer here for their last pick of Phase 1.
Okay, I mean, I think here you could just lock in something that you think might get banned.
All right.
Oh.
Well, Aurelia's maybe not open. Akali got buffed. Definitely a champion that feels like it's in Gyu's wheelhouse.
Absolutely. I don't think Kumo's going to be taking this one, and Gyu is going to have a really good time with this pick. He has been so powerful when he plays these melee champions. It's something that we actually hadn't gotten to see for the majority of the regular split. So seeing it now come out in playoffs is giving me a little bit of a flashback for how we saw him pop off last year.
Certainly so, as the teams do move through their next few bans.
So I think now for the side of 100 Thieves, you just want to make sure that you don't have a bad matchup for your top lane. It's going to be really important for you to make sure that you have something solid, since it looks like Kumo is going to have the last pick, and instead, if you have Kumo counter pick, yes, he can play those tanks more proficiently than the carries, but you're still getting that last pick, and you've already seen what champions like a Mordekaiser that aren't really such a carry are doing in the LCS.
All right, well, Bard, Yumi, Thresh, lots of supports being picked off here in Phase 2, so wanted to line up this 2v2 as best they can. I think the last one is here for 100 Thieves, though. As they got a couple seconds to decide. Is it going to be a fourth support? It'd be very unusual to see so many supports taken out. Instead, it is Shen. I actually really like this ban. I think this is a champion that definitely fits Kumo's style. We've seen Huni play it already today and look very good in just our last series in the LCS that has just transpired. And again, when you're looking at Kumo to be more of a facilitator for his team, play on probably the weak side, play a bit more stable of a lane matchup, Shen feels like a champion that could be an absolute nuisance with Nidalee and Akali running around your backline. But it is going to be Renekton locked in, another really good champion. This is fast becoming just like maybe the best top laner. Certainly I know in the LPL this champion is extremely popular. Renekton just seems like he fits in just about any team comp.
I believe I saw LPL first picking Renekton in a few games and still coming out ahead with him. So yeah, there is definitely a lot of power in the Crocodile right now. He's just so reliable, and the fact that he comes up with a point-and-click stun is actually a lot more useful than a lot of the tanks in the top lane that you typically think that have the opportunity to miss those skill shots. But I think that EG might be considering a Senna here as a support. I know it sounds like a crazy pick, but Ashe and Senna is a really abusive lane. Against a Tahm Kench, you would absolutely body them. There would be no way that Ezreal TK could actually stand up to them. The composition would be a little bit weird, but thus far, you're already having just a lot of melee champions, and I think that the Senna could just make sure that the Nidalee has a really good early game, and you just snowball from that position. Instead, though, they're just going to play for the team fights and make sure that they have some sort of follow-up initiation with the Nautilus, with the Ashe, so that Akali, Nidalee, and Renekton can do their business.
Yeah, a little old reliable there in Nautilus for Matt. It's a champion we've seen time and time again. Also decent into TK. If you devour summoning ultim, at least you're going to get a little bit of value there. I like the TK to deny the Ashe, but it does seem like bottom lane isn't going to be all that exciting. I do like, though, that EG, I feel like they set up Anda really well. When you're taking Nidalee early in a draft, I think you do need to support this pick. I think one of the things Renekton is very good at is locking down targets so Nidalee can spear them, because basically the only thing ever stopping Nidalee from killing you is if you misses a skill shot. And if it's unmissable because your opponent is stunned, it is very easy for Anda to snowball the game.
And that's what you want as Nidalee. You don't want anybody else to do the damage. You just want people to use a Nautilus ultimate and put him right in the air so that you can hit him, or the Renekton stun. So it actually feels really good to be Nidalee here. Now you just need the lanes to play aggressively as well, because you want to be invading. You don't want to just be ganking.
Certainly not, but we are going to step away to build up some game delay. But when we come back, we'll have the game right from the beginning, so don't go too far. It is game 1 of playoffs for Academy, coming right up between EGA and 100 Thieves. Welcome back. We're here to tee up Game 1. Actually, we've teed it up already. I take it back. We're about to get ourselves into Game 1 between 100 Thieves Academy and Evil Geniuses Academy. Pretty spicy draft. Crumbs, I would say like the bans maybe reflecting more of the spiciness than the actual picks themselves, but it is cool to see Akali being given over to a team, a champion that has been very consistently banned here in 10-16. But Giyu, again, the type of player that has been slumping a little bit, has not been nearly as impactful as he once was when he first joined the team in spring. And Akali is a very high-impact champion, Crumbs, whether you're winning or losing.
Well, he better hope to have a really good game here, because whether he wins or loses, like you're saying, I think it's going to get banned. It has just been so perma-banned in a lot of our games in playoffs, whether it's here in the NA or elsewhere. Players know how to play this champion. They have been practicing her for so long, especially because they hear the whispers of, oh, she's getting a buff. We got to start practicing this champion player a little bit. And so if you just get ready, getting that one game in a best of, though, that you can bust out the champion will go a long way. So he actually has to make sure that he has a really good game, that this is a win. That way it gets permaban and there's value on it, and so you start getting fear in the enemies that you continue to face during playoffs, that they're thinking, I gotta ban this champion. We've seen him play, we know what he can do. So showing off on the champions that you know could get banned when you get them is really important.
Yeah, now just to let everyone know, there is a little bit of a delay getting into game due to some connectivity issues for the players, but we should be up and rolling in about 3 minutes or so don't go too far away. The game will be underway, but just so you know, we're not just sitting here talking because we like the sound of our own voices, although I believe that is true for both Crumbs and myself. But to talk a bit more about why this is impactful for Giyu, when you think about his style, right, he was just like, he would get aggressive in lane. He would often get solo kills at Aurelia, which isn't really supposed to happen, but he would apply pressure and then leave his lane and almost always go down to the bottom lane and help Matt and Deftly snowball ahead, and then they would eventually win in the mid game through Deftly. That was the playbook, basically, that Evil Genius Academy ran all throughout spring when Giyu joined the team. And I think even though, yes, Twisted Fate and Galio can do that kind of thing, I think Giyu is the kind of player that needs to be able to apply pressure to his lane opponent to get some sort of advantage. He's not nearly as good at just kind of farming out and then pushing waves and then roaming traditionally. He needs to have a little bit of threat, have his jungler Ander come in and maybe force out the enemy laner, and then he can start exerting that influence. Because what we did see from Ander and Giola in spring was one of them were able to get an advantage. They were really good at conferring their advantage to the other lane and then moving that down to the bottom lane. So to me, I think that's what's been missing from Evil Genius Academy this split. So I am curious to see if they've managed to find that style again, because it does feel like they've been playing their way towards it. It's just the execution hasn't been nearly the same.
And finding that style, I think, lies a lot on Anda's first path. Where does he move as a jungler? Does he move towards the top side of the map? Is he moving towards bottom? Is his path built around enabling Giyu? And I totally think it should be around enabling Giyu, not only because of their previous accolades last split, but because when you're playing with a melee champion in the mid lane or an assassin, you absolutely must get them ahead. It is really important. If they fall behind, it is really brutal, because you no longer lack pressure. You can't really participate in a fight. You don't have wave clear, and the Orianna can really just start having an amazing time against this champion because of her defensive tools. So you really have to help him out, and I think that if 100 Thieves understands that the game plan will be to get Giyu ahead, if they've watched the tape, they should know that Akali and Nidalee are going to team up and are going to camp Soligo and move to the bot lane.
Yeah, I think the other thing to look at, just revisiting the bans and picks here that we have on your screen, it is interesting to see not just first pick Ezreal for Prismal, when Ashe has been such a prevalent, if not the most prevalent AD in this patch and the last patch, but they also banned both Kalista and Caitlyn on red side, which a little bit of a red flag to me, with those being kind of all the powerful marksmen, to not only ban two of them on blue side when you can first pick one of them, but also to take Ezreal instead of Ashe, who has certainly been the more prevalent champion. Like, yeah, Jin's floating around. We see Draven mostly just from wind. There's no one else that's really playing it. Like, there aren't typically that many options for ADs, and I know Prism was a very big Aphelios player. He was more in that camp of player where he loved those champions, and not getting to play them, I think, does hurt him. But I do worry if this series, continues, especially if it goes 4 or 5 games, that Prism might start getting exploited, because just looking at that particular aspect of the draft there, that feels like a big, hey, don't go after our bottom lane, please. That feels like a really big weakness, potentially, that EG could exploit here.
I have a theory as to why they did it. So not only has Prismal had some pop-off games on Ezreal, but Ezreal can at least dodge out of the arrow. And if you're going to go with the Tahm Kench, you also have an answer to the Ashe. So it is saying, it's kind of a disrespect actually to say, hey, we don't actually think your bottom lane is going to do that much. So it's part of what you're also saying, which is, hey, yeah, don't come to the bottom lane. Please keep us farming down here. And if they can get out, they are going to have two champions that are going to do really well against the Ashe Arrow. So they shouldn't get picked off. And the impact that Ezreal has with the same gold over Ashe and those two items, that first item is actually much greater. So I do think that Prismal has giving himself something that he's comfortable with, and it's going to depend on how good is Deathly's Ashe, because we have seen how good, say, FBI's Ashe can be in the LCS, and that is definitely a champion that you do not want to be laning against if you're going to have a disadvantage from the early game. So it's up to Deathly to say, you made a mistake first picking Ezreal this game.
Yeah, we'll certainly see. I like that angle, though, that, you know, they're confident that they can get out of the lane pretty comfortably, and then they'll be more impactful once 5v5s do start happening. Certainly eyes on this mid lane matchup, though. In fact, just the top side in general for both these teams, I think, is a good place to look. If I think things go to plan, bottom lane will be fairly uneventful for both of these teams. And the top side is maybe where all the action will happen. Fake God, though, early on to Kuma. Good little spin there, though, from the Croc, as Fake God not going to parlay. I assume he had it, but decides to not waste the mana crumbs.
Yeah, he wants to get that grass proc, and I love just seeing his hands, get their jazz hands, those green ghouls around him, and then you know, he's just looking, he's going straight at it, just trying to get that HP back. But there actually is a way that Gangplank's play this lane out with Barrel start level 1. It's not going to happen this game. Instead, he's just trying to harass Kumo as best he can, because it does not get that much better with the level 2 and level 3. So he's trying to make sure that he can exact his advantage while he can.
Yeah, I like that Kumo gave him the level 1 special there. Trial by Fire plus Grasp, just smacking away with the Corrupting Pot onto the Renekton. Kumo continuing to eat damage here. His Fake God's already level 2, but he's going to go ahead and move up in experience. So Kumo's going to take his lumps here in the first few waves, but like you said, lane does get a whole lot better pretty swiftly, especially if the enemy jungler, or his jungler I should say, does come to visit. In fact, Kumo, suspecting the enemy jungler might be wanting to come up here, does put a ward down nice and early, so Fake God should know that ward is there. That probably means Kenvi isn't interested in going top lane now, if he even was in the first place. And in mid lane, Soligo winning out in the early stages of the game, trying to basically zone gear of as many of these minions as he can.
Unfortunate for Soligo, we watched him miss the cannon, so exactly when you get to see him is when they miss. And on the top side, I think Fake God knew, and the rest of the 100 Thieves lineup knew what Anda was up to, not only from Soligo's ward, oh nice spear, but because the bottom lane for EG was actually leashing. They were late to the lane, whereas there was nobody leashing on the side of 100 Thieves. And that should be the giveaway that Nidalee is receiving some help, because her early clear is actually not that amazing. Yes, she's pretty fast, but she can drop pretty low if you're playing her and not autoing perfectly and kiting out your champions. You can get really low in HP, and this might actually be an opportunity for that path from Kenvi to give him a double crab over Nidalee. Nidalee bases, and yeah, he is off to the races thus far.
Yeah, so Anda is going to miss out on a very hefty amount of golden XP here. Kenvi going to go ahead and hit level 4, I assume. Anda did very quickly go through the jungle thanks to that leash, so he's 4 already as Kenvi just ticks over. Bottom lane he is. Set incoming, and going to speed up there as Matt does get himself over to the wall. All flashing from Kenvi. Matt's getting low, but the TP's coming in for 2 members of EG. There's Kuma, and there is Giyu. Good hook there from Matt onto Breezy. Breezy's just been magnetic in the bot lane, and now Kenvi going to die from first blood. Breezy's going to be second blood, and it's just the spring story all over again. Crumbs, Evil Geniuses, 4 minutes in, 5 people in the bottom lane.
Do not gank the bottom lane, because you know that the team is ready to react. It is never a 3v3 or a 2v2 down there. EG does not hesitate the second that 100 Thieves commits, and they know, they have an idea. Nidalee is already here, the crab just died, so they're like, okay, Kenvi might be here, and immediately the wave state is fantastic for both Akali and Renekton to TP into, and they don't waste a second going here. Kenvi had already burned his flash, not going to be able to get out of that one, and even though the Tahm Kench had flash and exhaust, to burn those there would have been a waste. I really appreciate that Breezy did not use those there. It's actually a sign of being quite level-headed at the beginning of a playoff match, and to see that the nerves are not getting to him is pretty good.
Sometimes, you know, you just have to accept your death, and Breezy does in that situation. Kenvi's going to go ahead and keep himself jungling, does have access to his Hex Flash now, but did lose his real flash. as a result of that play, which did very much go Evil Genius's way. They're up 1,000 gold now as Q's going to return to lane. Pretty far down in CS, Saligo did counterpick this lane, so this isn't too surprising, especially given the general nature of range versus melee in mid. But Gyu going pretty aggressive here. Probably didn't have enough gold for the Cutlass and didn't want to go Vamp, but has actually gone straight for the Revolver here. So we'll be going Gunblade first, but this is much more about all-inning than it is trying to sustain through the lane. And so see if Gyu can get effectiveness out of that purchase.
Those all lanes are so important because they get you kills, and they get you kills, which means you get presence of mind. You get that extra energy on your Akali, which means so much more than having mana champions, because yeah, mana-based champions, you can actually increase that. There's no itemization to increase the energy from Akali, so actually getting that stack early on makes you so much more dangerous, and the fact that he already has a kill is a great sign to seeing this Akali snowball.
Thank you, just farming up again, respecting the fact that Saligo has the pressure. They're both level 6, so there is potential for some shenanigans. But it looks like Saligo is wanting to roam down to this bottom half of the map because Kenvi is starting up the Drake. In fact, he's doing some very fancy double jungling here. Please don't lose the crab. Kenvi going to smite it. Bottom lane is the problem. Here's the TP though. Matt's already low. That's going to be a kill. That's a straight 2v2 kill basically as Fake goes down here as Breezy will pick up deftly.
I think I've seen this movie before.
Yeah!
Fight in the bottom lane, instant teleport. Saligo does not burn his because it was not needed. So they actually use less resources and are still going to be able to fight for the dragon. Now, the advantage that Kumo can get in here might make up for what they just lost in the bottom lane. He's hammering away for some plates in the top lane, already has a pretty big CS lead, and EG cannot contest this, so this should actually just...
2v4. Gyu's diving in already. He wants blood here as he pops the ulti charge already, but just going to dash out there as Kenvi did get over the wall.
Ambitious, an ambitious Akali.
Yeah, very. But Dragon goes over as we watch this play again. 100 Thieves responding to the action that happened earlier in bottom lane. Again, this is basically just a 2v2 right now.
They thought that because Nidalee was coming here, they'd have a chance, but there's Gangplank Ultimate and the double teleport, so they actually just are falling for the same trap they set on 100 Thieves. So you got to remember that the teleports were not used from 100 Thieves when the initial play happened in the bottom lane. So now we're back to only a single teleport ready to be used. So it's only Orianna that can now interfere with a bot lane gank, which seems to be the pace of this game. So I'm looking forward to seeing where Saligo ends up down here.
Yeah, it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of, how does he get here? What's the journey look like? Because we know that he's going bottom lane if these early signs are any indicator. One of the advantages bottom lane does get you, though, is power control over that Drake. And the first one did go to 100 Thieves, so we'll see if they can start that snowball. Next one will be up in 4 minutes, so it would be a pretty quick soul if they were able to get those stacked up. But, of course, both teams know this, so EG not going to be looking to give control of that area up anytime soon, as both bottom laners have been farming up just fine. And they're going to go ahead and grab the red buff for himself, and Kenvi going to go ahead and donate the blue buff over to Saligo. So things going about as expected, I'd say. There are some nice lead. There's a nice lead in the top lane. Actually, Kumo, I think thanks to Fake God's TP in part, has got himself up 20 CS right now.
Okay, so Kumo also knows that Kenvi is in the top side of the map because they just gave Saligo blue buff, and once they wait enough time and they know that there's nothing else going on, that the waves are crashed, they can go for this Herald. But that cheeky little ward might actually get us started into a big team fight. Gangplank Ultimate is just back up, Orianna with blue and Shockwave, so I think that 100 Thieves might be thinking about going into this fight, but that first spear might have deterred them.
Yeah, and it already has Runic Geckos actually, has the jungle enchant for the AP, so they are going to go for it here. Chucha Brajini steals the Herald, he's going to go in for Anda, looks for the Facebreaker, finds the Shockwave, is so nice from Saligo, and there's the ulti back on Akumo. 2 quick kills there for 100 Thieves, as Gyu and Ed dancing around in his shroud, but he's going to be revealed. They're going to try and find him, but he's going to have to dash out regardless. And 100 Thieves played that so nicely.
Wow. Yeah, the Ezreal ultimate to set things up. Well, quite literally. And then Kenvi. What a play out of him. I mean, that was phenomenal. I don't think I have seen sets make that kind of gutsy call in such a while. flashing in, not only getting a great setup for the Orianna, a fantastic ultimate, but also stealing the Herald, really putting a stamp to what EG was trying to do and making sure that all their effort was just to help him out even more. It's feeling like EG has some, or sorry, 100 Thieves has some pretty good momentum now.
Yeah, so we got Shockwave. Let's watch this exchange again. Actually, it's bottom lane we're going to have a look at because there's the Prisma ulti that kicks things off as we get into the rest of this play.
Okay.
So that's the steal.
Nice.
They had a splash phase breaker there. Kevy had the flashback up. Saliga with the Shockwave. And just made it look pretty easy, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that is hypey. That is why you pick Set for that kind of plays. It was cool to see the reactions of Anda, though, seeing what Set was going for with the Flash E, but still, the Shockwave caught him. And the Nidalee is quite fragile, at least at this stage in the game. Once she has her Zanyas and Athene's build and whatever other tanky item she has, she might not fall prey as easily to that combo.
Yeah, instead it's things going well here for 100 Thieves. They're the ones actually evening up the gold now. EG, thanks to earlier kills and some farm leads, have not fallen behind in this game, despite the 4 kills to 2 scoreline, but does feel like this is the kind of combo 100 Thieves can just rest on the gold being nice and flat and then scale up into that mid game. I mean, Gangplank is always going to be good in any sort of longer game, but this is just such a stable comp here for 100 Thieves, where EG certainly do have tools in the mid to late game. It's not like their comp is early game only, but it does feel like they drafted these picks to get ahead earlier in this game, and if they can't find any sort of advantage, if they can't get control over these objectives, and they can't get out on the map as the Nidalee, it is going to feel very difficult once the 20-25 minute mark rolls around. But 100 Thieves are setting up for this next dragon.
Yeah, that difficulty is going to be partially because the Nautilus and Ashe are going to have a really hard time engaging with the 100 Thieves lineup. You've got Oranges, Tahm Kench, Ezreal Shift, you've got a really tanky Set, and that is quite a bit to get away from the main engagements from EG. And if those aren't enough, well, you also get outranged. Yes, Nidalee and Ashe can actually participate, but the Akali and Renekton eventually have to join into a fight, and if Kenvi just saves his spells for peeling duty, good luck being Akali and Renekton getting onto the backline of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it certainly does seem challenging here, but Ocean Dragon is up. Kenvi is going to drop the Herald mid. And 100 Thieves, oh my god, Saligo is just working Gyu 1v1 in this mid lane. Plate goes over, Rift Herald's going down. They're going to get close to taking this tower out, but they're going to leave it with a little under a plate left. Gyu does kill the Rift Herald, but of course it's all a bait and switch for this dragon here. 100 Thieves, sorry, EG, I think they want to challenge, but I don't know if they can. Gyu is getting his health back in mid lane thanks to that Bilgewater Cutlass, but yeah, just too much control of this area for 100 Thieves. EG going to have to give up Drake number 2.
And they have no vision, no places for deep TP wars, and if they were to even find a way in, then you also have to deal with the Gangplank ultimate, who is actually farming pretty nicely. Yeah, down 20 CS against Renekton is still being behind, but you're getting that extra gold from your passive. You haven't been dying, which is the most important thing as GP anyway, so you still get to stack your grass procs. And now EG's trying to set up a trap here, but 100 Thieves doesn't have to fall for it, but the TP is here and they're gonna fall.
This play again, huh? Prisma's gonna get out of there, but he is gonna get stunned up there by the ulti, and no Matt gonna take him out as Gyu diving into the tower. Good spear there. Gyu's gonna charge in. The stasis is there, and the hooks land, so Anda with the spear as well is gonna be able to finish it off. And EG with 4 people down to the bottom lane once again will get 2 kills.
Curiosity killed the cat there, Pastry. They had no business going up there. They knew that Anda was actually in the bottom side because of the earlier dragon take. So they're investigating a little bit. The trinket made you think that Nautilus was all by himself, and the failure to use the sweeper or a control ward behind actually gets you another teleport, who has had 2 very successful TPs into the bottom lane, but it's been at the cost of a lot of CS and that mid lane tier 1.
Yeah, Saligo's individual lead, very impressive right now. Got 3 stacks on the Dark Seal as well. Kenvi eating spears, doesn't feel very good because he's only got a Cinderhulk right now. It's actually finished Athene's already. Here for Anda. You can see Anda's up about 600 gold or so, but mid lane you can see Saligo, wow, up 1,400 gold in his 1v1.
That's wild, considering that Akali has actually had such a big impact in the bottom lane, unable to actually get more gold than what you had previously thought. I mean, the CS lead is pretty significant here, and now it's about what is Soligo going to do with this wave, because without a turret, he's got a lot of options. Is he going to be crashing this? Is he going to be holding it here and trying to have Akali overextend? Oh, and this
well, FLICKR, yeah, that's caught one. Prism with another really good ulti. FLICKR's going to get it on his own with the assist there from the Ezreal ultimate, and now the time count is rolling in. Breezy looking for somebody else. He runs through the clouded up area of the enemy jungle.
I swear before the game is over, we're going to see Prismal just chuck another ult in that direction for a good measure, because every time he's throwing it around the Rift Herald, it's worked, so why not? That seems to be where EG really likes to hang around, and it gets Ezreal another assist from downtown.
Yeah, FLICKR, part of the reason that looks so easy was because he's his Trinity Force finished already. Kenvi, they're running into the TP and Kumo, ultimate out, Soligo there, ready. Gyu's going to take out Prismal, but see you later, Kumo just gets deleted off the Rift as the rest of 100 Thieves are going to run through the river, trying to chase down the EG bot lane. Gyu, though, did get a 1v1 kill of his own, but FLICKR's here as well. Going to be a 4v3 right now, as Ander right behind them is going to make it a 4v4, but 100 Thieves, they are going to start this Rift Herald.
Okay, I mean, they have Ezreal who can spawn again and shoot another ultimate if they really want to 4v4 this, but I think with how strong Orianna is right now and the double buff set, they just back off. And that was just a terrible TP out of Kuma. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He is not tanky. He cannot survive that, especially against the most fed member on 100 Thieves, which is Soligo.
Yeah, just to highlight, Kumo, like, doesn't even have Black Cleaver, which at least has a bit of health in it, right? He's pure Blade of the Ruin King first, which is extremely reliant on winning your 1v1, right? That's basically what this item first is trying to accomplish. And I think he just thought that, like, oh, my teammate's behind him, we can pinch Kenvi and get a kill here. And Kenvi's like, yeah, I'm just going to dunk you into my Orianna, who's massively fed, and we'll see you next respawn.
Yeah, that is exactly it, right? You're thinking about the play that you can make and not that the enemy's going to make a play on you.
Yeah, it's like when I play chess, I don't think about the moves my opponent can make, just the moves I can make, and then I do something, and I'm like, should have seen the other one, huh? But let's watch this 1v1. Gyu, this is the kind of thing that he needs. A bit of confidence here in this mid lane.
Ooh.
Oh,
whoa.
so clean.
That was really stylish with the E to dash and a little bit of an angle, hit him with the blade later, and then ulti onto him. That was not as fast as Prismo thought he would die. I think he was probably expected to survive a little bit longer.
He was wrong. Gyu able to take him out. Does have the Silk Shoes now as well on top of that Gunblade, but Soligo here with Kenvi is going to get the Herald dropped once again. This is the new best friends trio on 100 Thieves. Shelly, Soligo, and Kenvi looking good there in the bottom lane. Now going to take down another tower, but EG trying to answer in the mid lane here, but 100 Thieves likely going to push through here for 2. Gyu is not safe here in a 2v1, but looks like the rest of EG are rotating over. He is much safer now as Kenvi is going to get caught. Run the other way. Oh, no, go in instead. I like it. Has the Orianna bot on him. He's going to get the slap down in on to Matt as the True Top Raj will just whip, but Matt in stasis will only last a couple seconds longer as he will be slain by Prismal.
You think you have caught me? I have caught you, is the Kenvi story of this game, because not only has he turned all these picks onto more positive plays for his team, he's actually just schooling the objective game over EG right now. This is going to be 3 dragons, 2 turrets, consistently on top of the spawns on all of these plays and helping his team out with the wave. This guy is pretty darn good, at least in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Kenvi has been very impressive in the few games he has played so far. Gyu going to try to be the next contender. Kenvi with no ulti, does have his flash though. Gyu's going to tag him, does have his ulti. Oh, that's a really good Ash arrow there by Deftly. But here's Breezy going to try and save his buddy. Gyu going to get exhausted. Now Prismal's going to be the target, but Gyu not looking all that healthy. Does get healed up there by the Athenes from the Nidalee, and everybody's going to walk away with a little bit less health than they had to start with.
Okay, but maybe... Oh, look at that. Another good ultimate to actually stop a recall and hurt the Akali even more. That's just going to stop her from getting all the minions that she could possibly get in the bottom side of the map, and will deter a potential mid push from EG. Although that push now, taking that mid tier 1, seems so unlikely when you don't have a control mid. You're going to have to just put that Ashe in the mid lane and have her split farm with the Ezreal, which is going to take so long to actually push Ezreal out of this lane, who already has the Frozen Fist and cooldown reduction boost completed, which is going to help out his TP and flash so much.
Yep, he's been squired up, super easy with the Knight's Vow. Going to go ahead and link to the Ezreal. He's got 2 items charging up towards that Mana Mune, also Mirror Mana. As the wraparound here is not expected by EG. They will spot Kenvi, but there's more coming here. The tower dive is being called off though. Good vision here for 100 Thieves. Really good deep vision actually in the enemy jungle, but deciding against pulling the trigger on a potential dive as Saligo are going to find a few more. Matt and Ander finally spotted with that control ward being placed down.
Yeah, I think that Kenvi now knows that Anda has a stopwatch as well, so he's going to be... I knew it! That's the third. That's the third Prism ultimate. There was no reason to chuck out an ult there, but he still did it anyways, just to see if it worked.
I think he was trying to push the wave because they neither wanted to siege this tower. This is actually the third outer tower now, aka all of them, that Kenvi and Saligo have duoed up together to take down. Two of them, to be fair, were done with the Rift Herald, but they just know how strong they are. Like, Kenvi's basically just playing like bodyguard to this big Orianna who's getting pretty close to Spellbinder, I assume, is the item Saligo is going for, based on what I see right there in his inventory. So
maybe he's taking a PoE page and going with the Lichbane Orianna.
Lichbane's second Orianna.
I do think it is Spellbinder, but I do want to entertain that it could be Lichbane from the Aether Whiff. It actually could also be, what do you call it? The Ardent Sensor. Ardent Sensor, believe it or not, is actually a pretty valuable item. I mean, it is the Spellbinder, but Ardent Sensor as a just plain mage item is actually fairly useful for a lot of champions like Echo and Vladimir, that you just get movement speed and enhanced healing for some reason.
Well, let's see if we... I like the idea, but I think given the position Saligo's in, he just wants to be as strong as he possibly can. I mean, he is the carry at this point. Like, yes, FLICKR has 2 items. He's 2-0 and 4, and 2 of his items are the most expensive ones in the game. Don't worry about it, all right? Gangplank's just chilling out. He's farming in the top lane. It does feel like Kenvi and Saligo have been the driving force through this mid game, and maybe FLICKR or Prism are going to be the one to end the game, but at this point, Gangplank's the insurance policy, right? The current plan is all on this mid and jungle who have looked so good together ever since Kenvi joined this squad.
That is really fascinating, that through 3 junglers, the best look for the Thieves has been...
Kumo's just getting bullied here. That's going to be another kill, and Kenvi's going to pick it up.
Like, these two are so... like, so strong compared to the iteration of Contract Soligo or even Medio Soligo.
Nice kill by Giyu. Does get the execute there with the second part of perfect execution. Another one from Prismal does tag Giyu. But bottom lane is starting to run into some problems. I think Prism probably trying to cancel some recalls there because 100 Thieves are rapidly taking down these towers. In fact, this Indian tower looks all but dead unless EG can reinforce a bit faster. Great hook there. Somehow Matt finds Prismal. And 100 Thieves going to have to call off the siege.
Oh, 100 Thieves actually ended up making a split call there. Or at least Soligo did not agree with that one because he was already making his way out of that while the rest of the team continued to siege that base turret. And had he stayed, they might have actually been able to turn things around with the Spellbinder ready, the Shockwave, as well as the extra Orianna autos to potentially take down that turret, but they won't lose anybody, which is really important since Soul is on the line 20 seconds from now. Can't wait to see what Saligo and Kenvi pull out now.
Yeah, I mean, they've got their ultimates ready, or at least Saligo does. Kenvi probably not too far off, though. Have already seen a couple of set ult into Orianna ult combos. 100 Thieves are taking all the vision away from EG here, so now it's extremely challenging to face check because Orianna ball could be in any one of these brushes. And much like Garen, it's in all of them, is the assumption you have to make. Hex Flash in, can be zooming up. Once Matt again here, but a little too far forward this time. Haymaker down does a massive amount of damage though, but Giyu, he dives in. Is Breezy going to save his jungler once again? But Saligo, he's going to get stunned up here. Giyu's going to be able to execute him there. And Breezy could only save one and could not save the mid laner.
Oh, that was such a misguided engage there from Kenvi. Going onto the Nautilus, there wasn't even anybody behind him that he could combo with right away. And the great thing that EG recognized there was that because Kenvi overextended, forcing an engage that wasn't ready, the Devour had to be used and couldn't be spared for the Orianna. So Orianna just got murdered right away, and I'm pretty sure she had a bounty too with how well she'd been farming. So it's a pretty good move out of EG that puts a stop to this very quick Cloud Soul that 100 Thieves was about to get.
Yep. Gets that first dragon for themselves, so going to be a big delay on getting that soul. Baron, of course, now in play for both these teams. And Leandru's second here for Giyu is a cool one. Makes sense. Yeah, he's all of a sudden like kind of scary.
Okay, I mean, he's not going to get this champion again. like pretty sure it's going to be banned because it's very hard to play against if you don't have a lot of practice against it. It catches you off guard, and yeah, your mid laner might be able to handle it as Soligo is, but clearly the kills are coming in from other parts. So let's see how this engage ended up happening. I thought he was going to go over the wall for the Nidalee, but instead goes on Mac. It's so much damage right away, and then the Akali goes in. The arrow actually ends up catching Soligo because he happens to be the last one exiting the fight. So close to have Tahm Kench body blocked that for him. Fortunately ends up dying. And maybe a defensive item will be what comes out of him next, as it looks like he has the makings of a Banshee's Veil in his inventory.
Well, 100 Thieves still continuing to push the pace of this game. They're still up 2,500 gold. They're continuing to siege down towers. EG don't have a very good answer for this, as Matt's going to try and hook up Kemby, but Orianna ready with the ultimate. Giyu trying to poke in there. Dashing very aggressively forward with his E, flipping towards the enemies. The 100 Thieves just going to walk away from that one as Kumo is trying to work on a tower of his own and bring that a little bit closer between these two teams.
Split pushing, Renekton still doing some work. I think he's going to be able to actually get the turret if he really commits here. Instead, sees FLICKR, recognizes this is a very fed pirate, and I better get out of these waters.
Yep, doesn't want anything to do with the gangplank right now. FLICKR also working on a death dance, so everyone's starting to power up towards their third items, basically, at this point. In fact, Ander's already there. Has that Zhonya's you mentioned, the Athenes, and of course that jungle enchant. So pretty strong on this Nidalee, has kept the farm up despite all the action that's been happening in the last few minutes.
Officially reached very useful from Nidalee now. Can actually keep everybody alive and herself, and has max cooldown reduction. So this is where Nidalee wants to be when you pick this champion. Like, obviously you have those games where you're going Lichbane and you're popping up, but if you don't get to have those obliteration games, you do get to always be reliable, and that is why players can get away with picking this champion right now, because you can say, all right guys, yeah, if I don't pop off, I'm going to buff your AD, and then your marksman's pretty happy. It's like, okay, well, it might not be the end of the world, but I get attack speed stairs, I get a little bit of a heal, and I get somebody to just look out for me with execute and a little bit of peel.
Yeah. I think enough pop-off right now for Giyu, who's working on his third item, probably a Zhonya's with that Fiendish Verdict, if I had to guess. Prismal continuing to ulti waves, and definitely, he's probably not too pleased about it. What a hook again from Matt, but no follow-up available. Prismal actually just takes the opportunity to poke back, but Norvis doesn't take too much damage on the other end. He's also got his Death Dance finished. So a minute 20 till this dragon fight is on the horizon, and a little too far forward, but apparently feeling kind of bold. He's going to continue clearing up vision and harassing 100 Thieves. Matt hooking in there. Does get the ulti down onto Prismal, but a bit of a waste of the cooldown because no one else from EG was ready to engage there.
That looks really good out of 100 Thieves because Kenvi did not take a lot of time, but they're going for FLICKR. Oh, he has flash though.
Giyu again. Oh, gets the ulti over, but that's the second part of it. So Giyu gonna have to keep chasing. Flash down there for Kumo as FLICKR gonna orange out, and Giyu flashing in. He's gonna get a max range Q back to his shroud. Giyu just lines it up perfectly.
Dang, he knows how to play Akali really well. The things he's making this champion do is not something we get to see all the time when Akali is picked. Now going to be 5-0, and with 30 seconds on the dragon, that means that if EG is immediately there when the dragon spawns, they can actually start it and have a little bit of an advantage. FLICKR would have to TP and be late, or he could just pop his ultimate and have immediate impact. They can heal everybody up with the Nidalee, and it'll be like nothing happened.
Well, going to have to make a decision soon, because 100 Thieves are sticking around the mid area, wanting to get control of this soul and claim it for themselves. It is moments like that, like throw crumbs, that even though I understand why it happens, I am sad Yone is disabled all playoffs, because I feel like Giyu would be also very at home on that champion as well.
Ooh, okay, I'm seeing it now.
Alright, Kenvi flashes in, Kumo flashes out. Good attempt though, but FLICKR going to chase in. He's TP'd back through. Kumo's just dead again. Not a particularly tanky Crocodile, as Brisbale's going to take him down, and now it's the 100 Thieves 5v4 around the Cloud Soul.
Oh, and that doesn't look like he's in that position to steal. Actually fails to hop over the wall. They are going to get the soul, and that was Kumo failing to respect that 100 Thieves knew he had burned everything for that last fight. So this was a very squishy Crocodile in the first place that had committed all the spells he needed and had to kill the Gangplank earlier, playing as if he had everything available. So it was very easy for 100 Thieves to commit to him, kill him right away, burn every spell on him, the Gangplank ultimate, the set ultimate. It didn't matter if he went down. There was no way EG could fight. And now with that soul, they're actually going to be really scary in these fights, as they can move so darn fast and out of the range of these melee champions.
Yeah, Kenvy's already scary enough, like ulting into team fights. He's going to be even faster now. And of course the cooldown is going to be lower in general from stacking all those drakes. So watch this one again. FLICKR is just zooming in here, and 100 Thieves don't really care who it is. They just want one kill here.
And EG's Matt doesn't have an opportunity to commit from the left-hand side. He's actually burned the stone plate in the earlier exchange before we saw them kill the Gangplank. So had he gone in, he would have gone down just as quickly as the Renekton.
And with some very slick moves there onto that crab though. Easily takes it away from Kenvy, who was at least attempting to contest for a bit of bonus vision around the Baron. However, it is 100 Thieves that are still up in gold. They're up in souls, and they will be up in souls for the rest of this game. And again, with the scaling in their composition, with how comfortable they've looked with this setup, it does feel like EG are going to have to get very crafty to find picks here. I mean, And is building a Lich Bane. He has his Zhonya's almost completed. And he has been very good both in side lanes and in team fights, but it's not like EG have an obvious way to find a pick here with what 100 Thieves are presenting them. They are going to have to be a lot more sneaky about how they find flanks or angles for these fights.
And the atomization out of the 100 Thieves side has been pretty effective in dealing with a lot of what EG is trying to do. I think the only thing missing would be if Tahm Kench were to get a QSS, although he has not been picked on by the EG lineup thus far. But Ezreal's got one who is already so darn tanky. I mean, he really has 3 tank items right now on top of the Flash, on top of his Arcane Shift, so good luck catching on to him. Whereas Deftly, yeah, he's got a really fat bounty and is about to build the Infinity Edge, but he is so much easier to take down. He's so much squishier. Not a single item of his is defensive build, or has a defensive stat, whereas Prismal can actually output similar DPS and survive the initial brunt of the Akali. So that is, I think, what the bargain was with the Ezreal at the beginning. And now in the team fights, we'll see if it pays off, because Deftly has been quietly farming up and can be a very big threat if the fight presents itself.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see Deftly go for the, I guess, older style of build here for Ashe. We haven't seen Blade of the Ruined King first, at least in the LCS recently. It's been a lot more Essence Reaver, i.e. Runaan's Hurricane. So, you know, not that much of a deviation, but definitely certainly choosing the more selfish, more aggressive choice here, wanting to be a bit better in any sort of 2v2 or earlier engagement. But we'll have the Infinity Edge up fairly soon. All the crit marksmen with 3 or 4 items are very good. So definitely on the way to that point here as the teams are vying for actually the first Baron of this game, or 33 minutes almost through this game. And the teams have not found a way into the Baron pit just yet.
The gold is even enough that the teams don't feel that confident just going for the Baron at the moment. It could just be a complete game throwing of a move if it goes wrong. You don't actually have the atomization to just stand there the whole time. Yep, Prismal could tank it for a while, and you're not going to have FakeOut be there from the very get-go. So you actually need everybody in a position to go for this. And the first thing is going to be fight for vision. And there's not a lot that EG has left, but none of this works unless 100 Thieves clear out that pink ward, that control ward in the back of the pit, because EG never has to actually worry that their Baron is happening. They have a ward that sees it the entire time, so if they want, they don't have to take a single fight that 100 Thieves is presenting right now.
Yeah, do see a couple of control wards, so I imagine 100 Thieves will put one down there and just shut off all the vision around the area. They're actually doing a really nice job of getting vision into the enemy jungle. Prismal's continuing to poke with his ultimate as EG are forced to move together to clear out the vision that 100 Thieves are putting down. So at some point, 100 Thieves are expecting EG to slip up. And of course, they've got the Elder Dragon as well to play for in a minute and 20 seconds. So looks like instead they'll go over to this side of the map. I think they've decided that they'd rather fight for the Elder than that first Baron. I think even if they trade it, you're pretty happy as the team with the soul to get that Elder here.
Yeah, the Baron won't lose you the game, but losing Elder to the team that is behind right now would definitely be huge. Because the Akali could just dive in and get somebody low enough, and then you're dead. That's the big danger. When EG is so bursty, you give away that execute, and suddenly a 5-0 Akali becomes that much scarier.
Prismal checking the Baron. They actually have no vision now on the 100 Thieves side. That might tip EG off to say like, hey, they don't have any wards anymore around this area if they're checking with Ezreal Ultimate, but I think they're more concerned about setting up this Elder Dragon. Death Cap is close here for Soligo, but he's not quite finished just yet. I don't think he'll have it by the time this Dragon or Baron fight rolls around. So he's going to have to stay out on the map. But 100 Thieves will be first to this area. They're going to get that vision down. They're sweeping out any vision that EG have. And spoiler alert, they don't have any vision right now.
They're first and their waves are pushed up. So it's a good move out of them. And let's see what EG is thinking, because this is already looking pretty sneaky. You've got everybody on the bottom side, not contesting the mid wave, so they're going to be slow to that. It's going to be Giyu showing up. And if Giyu catches the mid wave, you know that the rest of EG have a much easier time, or sorry, you know where the rest of EG is engaging from. Kenvy's going.
Does have flash, gets in there with a face breaker, finds Kumo, but he pops the ulti. Matt going to be the target in the front side as well. The locker pop by Kenvy still has the haymaker ready to go though as Matt. He's low and he's now dead as Soligo with the ball over the wall is able to finish off that kill. Kenvy now low though, has to keep himself alive. He's the only smite on the 100 Thieves side. But 100 Thieves are looking to keep chasing down. Giyu might have to find a very big individual player as Prismal shifts in. That's a sin in Crumbs' book, but 100 Thieves, they are going to stick around. They're going to start this Elder Dragon.
It's a sin, but when you've got the Tahm Kench, he might be able to absolve you because he can devour you out of trouble. And EG is not giving up on this, so they know how important this dragon is. Maybe Anda is going for a steal, but the Ezreal poke is going to be huge. He's got red buff and corralling them back into the entrance, but EG's pushing in.
Yeah, Giyu's here as well. He's on to Prismal. He's so scary right now. Facebreaker there for Kenvy, finds one. Kuma though able to take down Soligo. And Giyu's still ripping through the Breezy with a wonderful devour though. As in the back line, Kuma is going to get the kill in the Dragon Pit as well. Prismal now running low, running out of health. There's a good crucial barrage timed very nicely as Anda's going to go in, but Prismal is going to go down. Kumo's going to put up the white flag, but not for them as they grab the Elder Dragon.
Wow, they actually won that fight. EG, they went in and got the Soligo deleted. The Orianna was never there in that fight, and that made it so easy there. They actually have Elder on 4 people, and the death timers are pretty darn long. They're going to get at least an inhibitor here. If they start tanking this, I think they might be threatening to end the game, Pastry.
They're certainly going to try to end the game, Crumbs. They're going to take down this mid inhib. You can tell by the forward position they are going to go for the Nexus here. At least going to strip a couple of these towers away. Matt, that hook was wide, but that's fine, as the first one is going to fall. Looks like the game is going to end. Breezy cannot defend this on his own. It's EG Academy that are going to take the first Nexus.
Wow, that hurts for 100 Thieves. You had the soul, you had the win condition, you were playing so well, but EG's relentless team fighting and Akali, the Akali from Giyu, showed up at the very end. I mean, it was apparent in the bottom lane from the very beginning, but it just did not stop to pick on Prismal.
I feel like they just kind of got distracted, honestly. Like, there's too many threats to focus on, right? Renekton's diving your backline. Like, you have to peel on Akali that you can't see off your AD. So Breezy's, like, getting overloaded with who to devour, and then it only happens once. I mean, just looking at this team comp here, you could probably look at this draft and be like, yeah, and if I told you the winner, you'd probably know what happened in this game. Because it's extremely stable, solid team fighting for 100 Thieves, and a little bit of chaos for the Evil Geniuses. And this time, Chaos won.
It certainly did, and I can't wait to see exactly what Giyu was all about in this game, because the Akali going in at that very end, it looked like 100 Thieves had all the tools to win that dragon fight. You have the Ezreal with red, full mana, you've got the Orianna, you've got a Tahm Kench, and you've corralled them into the corner. But when they were able to shift back into the Dragon River, or the area in front of the dragon, that's where all hell broke loose, and Orianna goes into the pit. The rest of the team divides, and like you say, they get distracted, and suddenly the best way to help an assassin is to split up, and they did, and so they thrived.
All right, I can tell you what Giyu was all about this game, Crumbs. It was bottom lane. That was the focus in the early game for Evil Geniuses. It's so funny that we set up the style. They played exactly the same way as they did in Spring. This is where it all started off.
So this is, the first gank from Kenvy, trying to make sure that his bottom lane is off to the right pace. Gets turned by a double TP, and that was just not the end of it, because the bottom lane was all about teleports going down to the bottom lane. We saw it again happening from EG's lineup where they're making a play, and 100 Thieves TP, so everybody just wants to get down there. But it was just really impressive how, despite falling behind in CS, I actually don't think Akali died once that game, Pastry.
I think you're right. We'd have to check the tapes, but as kind of a looking at the other side of the coin, it's not like 100 Thieves were rolling over in that game at all. They had a really good-looking set of team fights. This one in particular around that Herald, where the seal did happen. Prismal, of course, getting away. No, not this time. I take it all back.
This was, I believe, the second teleport out of GU into the bottom lane, and the 100 Thieves bot lane was feeling somewhat curious about what was going on, despite every other champion on their team not being around, right? You had Kenvi doing wolves, Oriana shoving mid lane, Gangplank doing his thing, so there could have been no help. They walk into danger, and they get punished so hard.
Yeah, again, just continuing that bottom lane extension there for EG. We'll have a look at, this was the Herald steal here. Prisma kicked it off with a wonderful ulti, and then this was just so well coordinated for 100 Thieves.
This is where it started to look like, okay, I see what this composition is trying to do. We're hyping up Kenvi. He got both heralds. He got 4 dragons. They don't let Akali get more kills, right? So they don't give any away. It wasn't a trade at all. It was just all for 100 Thieves. So it looked so good from them because they were able to use that herald, give even more money to Soligo in the mid lane, put Akali further behind. But it just did not seem to matter because when it came down to the team fights, the most important team fights, well, the Akali ended up shining, and it's kind of a lot of what happens in solo.
Yeah.
Where you get all those dragons, you get that dragon soul, you're really hyped up, but then you unlock the big beast, the Elder
Let's just
Dragon.
watch this. I mean, Gyu looks so clean on this champion. You asked the question, Crumbs. Is it going to get banned? The answer now? Probably.
Yeah, I would be very surprised to see it not be banned. And here he goes again. We're flashing in, dashing over, using the Shroud. Like, he makes it look so easy.
I think, I don't know how many of these we're going to see, but it's going to be a few. Curious to see if we get the bottom lane one again. But even in team fights, like following Kenvi here after this Devour, despite Breezy's like, yeah, I have to Devour you. They exhaust him as well, but he just goes in a Shroud and then plays the rest of the team fight out.
So distracting. He's a huge distraction. You can see the rest of 100 Thieves just wants to keep their eyes on the Akali to make sure that they don't actually get assassinated or one-shot by how quickly the burst was coming out. So the Akali's ability to go in right away is something that I think caught 100 Thieves off guard. There's so many different ways that Akali players actually handle the fights, whether it's going for those long flanks and trying to be really sneaky, or like what we just saw, which is just being really overt about going in, but maximizing the value that you have with the Shroud to stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, Assassins can be very tricky to play in teamfights, and Gyu played it pretty much flawlessly throughout the game. So EG currently leads the series 1-0, but on the other side of our break, 100 Thieves will have their chance to tie it up as we step into Game 2.
Verizon knows how to build unlimited right. You start with America's most awarded network, the one with unbeatable reliability 13 times in a row.
This network is one less thing I have to worry about.
Then you give people more plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need.
Verizon Unlimited plan is so reasonable, they could stay on for the rest of their lives.
You include the best in entertainment, and you offer it all starting at $35. Because everyone deserves the best. This is Unlimited built right, only on Verizon.
Welcome back. We're about to kick off game number 2 between Evil Geniuses Academy and 100 Thieves Academy. The Geniuses are up 1-0 after a pretty back and forth game where Crumbs, it did feel like 100 Thieves were in control, but Giyu's assassin Akali and the rest of his team had a lot to say about that.
Yeah, that control was objective control. 4 dragons, 2 heralds, so many turrets. But the Akali could not be contained. The Akali is, I mean, it's going to be banned, Pastry. There's just no way somebody goes into the draft moving forward and does not perma-ban this against Giyu from now on. And it might be a painful lesson, though, because we don't know how tight this series is going to be. Seeing how this one went down, we speculate that it actually could be fairly contentious.
And it's interesting, right? Because I can't think of another champion on the EG side that had nearly as much impact. Like Kumo, I think actually did do a lot of work behind the scenes in those team fights, being disruptive on the Renekton. I think Anda had a lot of impact on the Nidalee, probably throwing heals around, and then definitely Matt were kind of built to engage really with the Ashe and Nautilus, right? Like they have to get a lot of the job done in a team comp with not a whole lot of traditional ways to start a team fight. But even though all the attention was on the Akali, I'm curious if it's like just a Giyu thing, like if you get him off all of his champions where he can play make, do EG fall flat, or is there more strings in the EG bow, let's say? And do you even have enough champions to get Giyu off a comfort pick? Because we know about Aurelia, Akali's clearly back in the meta and he's comfortable playing it. Curious to see kind of how the series unfolds, especially in picks and bans, which should be on their way in a minute or two.
You read my mind, Pastry. The Aurelia. And why do I think Aurelia more than ever now? Well, not only does she get buffed, but her best jungler is back on the menu.
Sejuani.
Yeah, so Sejuani Aurelia could also be a combo that they bust out whenever they feel like it at the moment. And if that is going to be very deadly, because you're not going to be able to first rotation ban that away. You don't have that many bans to spare. I mean, you could try to pinpoint Giyu into these melee champions, but when you look at what he has played for the majority of the season, he has gone so far away from this, so it just feels like this is just another depth to the player that is harder to contain, because Soligo still going with those control mages is not going to present some sort of counter matchup to these champions, like say, I'm going to take a bruiser in the mid lane and try to 1v1 you that way. He's just going to try to outfarm.
I wonder if Soligo even potentially wants to take the assassin here. There's, I think he is more flexible than he appears. Like, yes, he's known for his control mages, his Azir especially, his Orianna also, his Syndra, but he has shown, he can play Twist of Fate. He's shown, I think, Pantheon at one point. Like, there was a period where Soligo was trying just about everything and making it look good. So he's certainly a player that is better, has a deeper champion pool than the initial look at the numbers might suggest. And with so many different champions getting changed this patch, Crumbs, it's almost a question to me of like, which team has figured out of like the 25 champions that got changed, like which ones are still good, which ones are now not good, and which ones can we pick out and play? And I think across playoffs in the LCS and Academy, we're going to learn more and more about, hey, there are more viable champions than you think. It's just a matter of putting the time in and trying to make them work.
Part of that viability, I think, feels like just receiving Christmas gifts when you wake up to patch notes that have your own champions buffed, but suddenly Akali's not banned, Pastry. What is going on?
First pick Akali. Or they think they can beat it. To be fair, 100 Thieves, were very much in that game. So in their minds, they maybe don't have to change all that much, but they have not swapped sides. They'll stay here on blue. And they will first pick Ezreal once again. This is not a replay. This is live. This is the actual champ select. I want to promise you all.
Sadly, it won't be a salty run back because the set is banned, but thus far, Kenvi has actually proven to be a very, very flexible jungler. He has, what, played 5 unique champions in 7 games? That's pretty impressive for somebody that just came into the league.
Yep, there's a center flash there from EG, but it is Nidalee once again here for the Geniuses. Ashe also available. Looks like Kaiser's going to be shown here for Ender. Certainly something that both Deathly and Prism want to play. Okay, but I wonder if
they hesitated if Ashe was the best pick. They were saying, we know Nidalee for sure. We actually are not entirely set on the AD yet.
Or Ender's just having fun clicking through champions. Senna? Yeah, Senna is the selection here. So already a very big departure from EG's draft. This feels like very poke heavy, regardless of where the center ends up going, whether it's for Deathly or for Matt, whether it's farming or support. Kind of curious to see how this team comp works out, because you have a lot of utility and a lot of poke between these two champions. So you're going to build very different looking comps, even though you have the same jungler as you did before. I also like this from Kenvi. I thought his set was pretty good, but he's saying, you know what? I'm the best jungler around these parts. Let me show you. He's going to take Lee Sin here and get nice and aggressive.
It's so exciting. He's unlocked. EG banned it the first time around. Instead of the set ban, it was the Lee in that first game. So he's going to do a slight adaptation and give himself a little bit more mobility when it comes to dealing with Anda. No longer will he just stand by and dodge spears. He can actually go into the Nidalee, and we might get to see some exciting kick flashes out of him as well. But what is EG going to respond here with? Because you already see the mid lane matchup. Is it going to be Twisted Fate like you were hinting at? It could definitely work with the Nidalee. It's a very strong combination, but nope.
Yeah.
Akali.
Yeah, just Akali. I mean, if they did pick a different mid laner, I'd be like, what is happening? Like, EG just trying to flex on 100 Thieves, trying to look how many champions we can play. Because it doesn't really seem like Gyu needs to move away from his champion until he's forced to. Certainly not in this matchup. Like, he got counterpicked last game and was just fine despite going very far down in CS, thanks to Saligo's good landing on the Ori, but was impactful enough in teamfights that I don't think he was too worried about being bullied in the laning phase, so he'll happily run back the matchup, effectively counterpicking himself here with the way the laning phase went in the last game, but it doesn't really seem to matter as the rest of the bans are going to move through. Bard and Shen once again will be taken away from both Breezy and Kuma respectively.
It's going to be tricky for 100 Thieves to approach this second ban because we have seen from EG they can play the Senna Karma bottom lane. It's the fasting Senna instead, with the Karma getting a lot of the farm. And they would actually make this comp fairly dangerous if you could also pair it with a physical damage top laner like a Renekton again. So you would have a little bit more pokey, less of that hard engage from the Nautilus. But we saw from that last game, Nautilus did not have a very big impact. We saw it coming from a mile away, but the engages were really the arrows and the Akali. Renekton is not going to be available, so that does severely limit the physical damage champions that Kumo can play that will also have a dominant laning phase.
Ooh, they're going to steal the Tahm Kench this time around, so don't want to give Prismal and Breezy the safety of the Ezreal Tahm Kench that was. I mean, despite how slippery that lane is, Evil Geniuses did a pretty good job of killing them by teleporting everybody down there, so looks like they do want to at least take it away. Ooh, Breezy might mix it up here. Blitzkrieg's a really cool pick if he does want to take it here, but looks like he's going to go for Braum instead.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Tahm Kench gets away with another very solid laning phase against another melee match. No one's playing Enchanters against the Tahm Kench. No one wants to play range against this pick, letting him go through and do his dirty work with Senna in the bottom. And already so much healing coming from the side of EG. There's going to be a need for healing reduction out of 100 Thieves lineup thus far. And Fake God with his blind pick top lane. It's going to go Ornn, a little bit of engage and scaling tool.
Back to on duty for Fake God. This is kind of what works for a lot of different teams, right? I mean, his GP did look good, but I feel like he got so lost in the side lanes with Gyu being as strong as he was, kind of being the wrench that maybe 100 Thieves weren't anticipating would be nearly as problematic as it was. Also, Volibear is up and available. Kumo does actually like this champion. I believe he's won on it twice. I think it's his only champion that he's won on in the regular season that he has more than one game on. And he's going to take it here up against the Ornn because it's on. You can kind of pick whatever you want. Everyone's just going to hang out in top lane and have a great time.
That is an exciting pick. I actually do not mind the Volibear at all. Some physical damage there, good laning presence, and back to the Ornn and the Braum. It actually makes it even harder for Gi to assassinate champions now. So there is a way for the Ornn to survive the side lanes, unlike what the Renekton had to deal with. Sorry, the Gangplank had to deal with last time. And same thing with Breezy. The Braum is going to be so much tougher to assassinate and snipe down. And another reason why the Akali might not have been touched, while 100 Thieves could not have seen it coming since EG had the final ban, Lee is going to do really well into the Akali. You can just kick her out, you can Q her, and you can just kill her in your Shroud.
Yep, it's pretty. Lee, one of the few champions that I think has ways to reveal her as well. Just naturally built into his kit. So we'll see how Kenvi can do here. Again, I think his set looked really good, but it's not the same aggressive champions we know he can succeed on. So I think he's been giving a little bit more agency in this game, and Fake God's being shifted to on duty instead of Gangplank duty, just to maybe stabilize the team comps a little bit. Again, I don't think 100 Thieves had to do that much differently than what they did in the last game here. They just need to, make some adjustments, and I think just be a little bit more aware of like how willing Gyu is to start teamfights and be disruptive on the Akali, because I think 100 Thieves thought that teamfights would be a bit more straightforward, and they were anything but towards the end of that game.
They got caught off guard. They did not know how EG was going to approach the game, whether it was playing around mid, top, or the eccentric focus to the bottom lane, and how aggressive Giyu was, like you were saying. So I think there actually is a lot to be said for them letting the Akali go through and saying, we're just going to give you the run back because we actually liked how our jungler was playing. And I was just a little bit smiling at the fact that how ironic is it that the blind champion is the one that reveals invisible picks?
Well, we'll see how Kenvi can do on the Lee Sin this time around, because we are going to step away to build up the game delay, but when we come back, we'll have the game right from the beginning. Welcome back. We're about to get to game number 2 between 100 Thieves Academy and Evil Geniuses. Academy EGA are up 1-0. Anything can happen here in the best of 5 crumbs. We had 5 games today in the LCS. We had 5 games yesterday in Academy. We'll see if we get either 3-0 or 3-2, because I feel like those are the only results we've got in playoffs so far. So I'm assuming 3-1 is impossible.
Yeah, it's never happened. Never happened.
It's literally never happened in summer 2020 postseason.
Yeah. We could definitely see it going that way. And I wouldn't be surprised to see anybody also stick through the entire best of 5 LCS, the best of 5 Academy, and the first thing they do after is play some League of Legends right away. I definitely get the itch after watching players like Giyu have that kind of a Kali performance. It's like, oh, this looks easy. I could totally do this.
I remember this champion. This champion's sick. Then you try and play, you're like, oh, wait, this is hard.
Like, wait,
what do I
he was
do?
not point and click? What's going on? What did I miss?
Her ult point and click is easy.
Yeah.
All right, well, Giyu does have the Akali again, so I'm curious to see if 100 Thieves adjustments they made to this draft can contain her in team fights. As a reminder, like, I think the game ended in such a dramatic fashion for EG, but like 100 Thieves had complete control of the jungle in the early game with Kenvi running the show alongside Soligo's laning. They had the Cloud Soul. They were like completely set up to win that game, and then just kind of lost a couple team fights towards the end. Couldn't really close out the game, and gave the win over to EG. So certainly it doesn't seem like 100 Thieves need to do much to make the result of the last game go differently, as long as they can navigate to that spot, which given how they played, you think they will be comfortable getting there again. But there have been a number of changes made here, especially on the EG side, which is surprising. Like, Senna is a very different champion than the Ashe Nautilus that Deathly and Matt had last time, and it will be farming Senna here for Deathly, so a bit more traditional of a marksman here. But we do see this as well. Senna just very flexible in either of her intended roles, which I guess makes sense based on the champion design.
Okay, so EG's mid 2v2 being really aggressive with the spears early on and actually gets awarded. It looks like FLICKR scouted it. No one's going to base for a trinket to sweep that out. It's really terrible if Lee Sin starts with the red trinket, so instead he might just start at red buff to make sure that nobody sees it, or he could just go for blue and accept that Anda has his eyes on him and just move away from that as quickly as possible. So I personally prefer starting on that camp right away, and that way you can actually mess with your route a little bit more, as opposed to starting on, say, red, pathing to the blue side, and now you give away what CS you have, so you actually tell your opponent what other camps you might have taken along the way.
All right, so pretty interesting to see what Soligo did there. I didn't see what happened at level 1 in the last game, but that's a very aggressive way to meet that mini wave. He actually met the wave, instantly autoed it, and then tried to zone Giyu out with the ball. So Soligo was playing to absolutely dominate this 1v1 once again, at least in the laning phase, and Kenvi will just accept the fact that he is going to be giving away some information. Actually has Safeguard as well, interestingly. I'm not sure if that's the standard or if that's something he needed early on because of a potential invade, but regardless, he should be just fine clearing through this jungle, and Anda's going to go ahead and power farm 2 red into Krugs there for Anda, likely just going to clear up both sides of his jungle as fast as humanly possible.
And this power farm from top side from Anda tells me that he's thinking about returning to the top side on the second rotation spawn to play around dragons again. Because if you're EG's team, coach, or whatever, the one thing you're pointing out is that you're very happy that you won that game, but you need to make sure that you clean up that objective control, because you got obliterated by Kenvi when it came to dragons and heralds. So I think EG will have a greater focus on that this time around, and having your jungler path down there and helping out your bot lane is a great way to make sure that the pressure translates into those objectives.
Yep, also top lane here, Kumo continuing to be on the aggressive side of the top lane matchups, but he has the volley there here up against the Ornn. I think a lot less volatile than GP Renekton, especially with Blade of the Ruin King first Renekton, and also Kumo has a Doran's Ring, which is kind of neat.
And bears with rings, they're cool.
They are cool.
He has enough sustain with his W to just need more mana than shield. And the wave clear that he has actually makes it so that FLICKR never really gets in range to proc the Brittle against him. So the power of lane Volibear, although most would prefer him in the jungle from how great he can be at those ganks. And here comes that first attempt, fighting for that bot lane scuttle with the spear.
Oh, he missed. Ooh, that looked so scary for a moment, but Kenvi does successfully get the crab. Looks like Kumo is actually going to go ahead and do some juggling of his own here. pushing out the wave top lane, and then roaming down to take the crab himself. So a lot of vision here gained by Kumo on the top side of the map.
It's so great when you have a top laner that can crowd control the crab and actually take it down, because a champion like Gangplank is never able to leave his lane and quickly take that objective, whereas a Volibear, a Renekton, that kind of pick can just take a quick little stroll when they know it's safe and make sure that the enemy jungler does not get too crowds. Help out Anda.
Bottom lane here as well, you can see Prismal and Breezy getting kind of poked out here. This is one of the things that Senna is very good at. Pumpkin's also not bad. Poking people out with the tongue lash if you can land them, and so far so good in the 2v2, up 10 CS right now. But Definitely and Matt, and it's not going to get any better as they're getting poked out under the tower as well. Definitely's going to collect those souls.
Oh, it's so annoying, but also so good for Deftly to continue to stack not only with his creep, but just whacking away at Breezy and Prismal, which that's why I was a little surprised at the Braum pick, because you're just going to let Senna just beat you to death in the bottom lane, and we might have our first little tussle here as both junglers are going for the blue side jungle, but because Kenby is thinking about a different route, doesn't go straight to the Braum, and nothing happens.
Yep, and they're going to go ahead and steal one camp away, so is up right now. Oh no!
Oh,
again, Kenby looking close to disaster, but is now going to know the end is here, and actually just going to try and fight the Nidalee if he can land the Q, but she cannot. And now the spear is going to hit. Very accurate there for Anda on this Nidalee. As the TP back in for Prismal is forced. They're down the bottom lane going for the 2v2, but seems ill-advised given what we've seen already from the center. And definitely, oh, what a great W as well. Prismal going back in, he's shifted in, he's going to get devoured. That's going to be a first blood, and that's just such a massive mistake from 100 Thieves.
Oh my god, Pastry, massive indeed, because he TP'd down there and the wave is pushing back. Oh my god, it is a disaster for the bottom lane. Ezreal doesn't even have enough money for a tier to get that back after that death, so it is just brutal. Okay, let's see how it played out. So he TP's behind them. Shield is already down, so it's going to be really tricky to fight, but
we don't have time.
Fight in the top lane.
Dive in the top lane. Oh, what a knock up there for FLICKR. Gets the knock up again with the ulti. Outplaying everything. Kumo with the ulti is going to get low, but he's not out just yet. And FLICKR completely outplays EG in the top lane.
Wow, okay, those double ruby crystals doing a lot of work for the Ornn, keeping him alive, even getting the flash out of Kumo to make sure that he lives. And this is an opportunity for Kenby. Great flash from Anda.
Yeah, would have been a kill for sure, but Kenby going to take control of this crab. FLICKR still feeling fine, but gonna be, TP coming in, smite there for Kenby. He's just going to get out, does have a ward if he needs it. Jukes the spear and walks away, knows that Kumo can't really chase. As mid lane, Matt has walked in for Gyu here. Is burning ulti already to try and harass the Liga, who has TP back to lane. But Gyu just wants to push it and get back out himself.
When it rains, it pours in this game, because the second one fight breaks out, everybody wants to get in on the action. And 7 minutes have gone by. They know that Anda started in the red side. This is Kenby hunting Nidalee. He wants his revenge. What a good ward. He didn't even, where did he even see that Kenby was going up there? That is some great reading from Anda to know what Kenby was up to.
Yeah, they can see this red buff attempt as well here. Kenby just going to have to be forced to reset the buff because Kumo is out of there. So Liga roaming up though. Gyu's around, so this could be a 3v3 pretty quickly. Kumo's actually zoning FLICKR off of this potential pathway, but FLICKR's going to stay and make sure that the red buff steal can be completed. And Kenby is finally going to take a camp away from Anda.
They concede the red buff. It's not the end of the world. Nidalee has already gotten some counter jungling of her own, and without flash, it is really risky knowing that Kenby has his as well. So there's no need to gamble on an objective that's not going to have major implications for the outcome of the game. He's got his own blue buff. He knows that Kenby is going to be at the blue side right now, as Orianna has just been handed off the blue buff. So there is an opportunity here for EG to do something, and they're going to use it for the dragon.
Yeah, 2v2 also continuing. I just don't know why 100 Thieves are being so aggressive here.
They haven't faced. G still has the same items.
Oh, that's true. Definitely still has the Doran's Blade. I guess that explains a bit more of the aggression, but Definitely's got the TP. He can reset anytime. EG just want to stay out on the map to make sure they can get this dragon, and indeed, they will finally get the first streak in this series as they take down the Cloud Dragon.
Now the bot lane can rest easy. They can leave and just finally buy some items. I think this is probably going to be, what, the tier and pickaxe coming out of Deftly. I think he actually might have near a mana flat. Yep, he's got it.
That's a lot of gold that definitely has.
Mana.
That assist gold. Yeah, Mana Mune.
The
Eventually,
names
it transforms into Mana. Yeah, I got it mixed up last game too. Just a lot of vowels.
Right.
Certainly be tricky.
The blue sword.
The blue sword. Well, same sword there for Prismal on the other side as well. Probably same, if not or similar build for Prismal here, but is going to go for that tier item first as well. Makes sense on this pretty mana-hungry marksman. But again, I'm trying to remember the bans. I think Kalista might have been banned again, but I don't think Caitlyn was.
Yeah, Caitlyn, I think Caitlyn, Galio, Kalista.
Oh, by 100 Thieves again? This is the thing, right? Like, definitely, I mean, took the Ashe, was like, yeah, lane matchup wasn't that good. Now taking the Senna, being way more impactful in this harassment, and like, Breezy even had the option to counterpick support as well, and just wonder if 100 Thieves maybe don't have as many options as they would like in the bot lane, but I guess that's something we can track as the series does continue, because Anders on the Rift Herald right now, as EG are the ones with all this objective control.
We've seen this last time. It actually was the same first Rift Herald where EG had started and then 100 Thieves ends up collapsing. This might be a picture-in-picture though. Here comes Kenzie.
Steal again? Surely not. I don't think he got it. But as the ulti out of Fake God finds a knockup onto Kumo only, and who's got the Herald? It is indeed Giyu. So EG did secure it this time. Hey, the ulti again.
The ultimate too. It looks the exact same.
All right, well, the result is different, Crumbs. Giyu did manage to get the Herald, so he's going to be able to pop that probably for himself at this point. Obviously, in the scramble, we'll just want to make sure you get the eye rather than who gets it. But we'll see when Giyu does want to drop it here. Also having a bit better of a time in the 2v2. Still down 20 CS, so Sligo continuing to lane well in this matchup, but hasn't been enough to contain Giyu roaming around and being safe farming here in the mid lane. And we already know that he's really a much bigger threat once the lanes start opening up a little bit more.
I think he takes this matchup knowing that he's going to be at a deficit. And I love also seeing when Anda just walks by the mid lane and pops a heal for his Akali just to keep her topped off in the lane, knowing that it's going to be a struggle against the Orianna. But the Herald recall is actually going to make things pretty smooth for him, as he can actually afford to base under a non-cannon wave and will miss just 2 CS.
A couple CS denied off there. He's going to catch the rest of that wave. Catches 3, I believe. So not too bad at all. Almost has the Gunblade finished as well. That really is the struggle for Akali in the early levels, is just the getting Gunblade takes so long. Prismal, oh my goodness! I assumed Anda was going to like press all his buttons and fly in there, but not going to go for it just yet. Does have his jungle enchant finished as well. So does Kenby. To be fair, he's got Warrior and 2 longswords, so he is quite powerful. He just needs to get in areas where he can use that power. And this bottom lane is not going well at all. In fact, EG don't even need the TP this time, Crumbs. They're going to walk you down here.
And okay, the control ward has been cleared, but the harass is so strong on the bottom lane from 100 Thieves. It's fine though, the Rift Herald has been popped. They just need a little bit extra damage down here, and 100 Thieves just has to back off. They actually waste so much because mid and jungle came down without being able to pressure anything else. So it's almost as if EG, the cost that they had to pay to move the mid and jungle was never actually capitalized on from 100 Thieves. Because look at that, they get all the experience and only miss 1 CS.
Yeah, 2,000 gold up now for Evil Genius's Academy, which is pretty significant given how early we are into this game. I feel like Giyu's like doing even better than he was in the last time. Like, he played the matchup and was down in farm, but he also wasn't really doing anything other than farming in that matchup. This time he's at least being able to move out of his lane and have an impact elsewhere. So this is definitely like similar to the style we came to know and love from EG in spring. And despite some personnel changes, despite some meta changes, this Fake God here in the top lane is going to probably seal the deal on Kumo. Can be looking for the Q, but he's not going to land it. And Anda there in time as the mobile ambulance is going to make sure Kumo is out safely.
Yeah, Kumo has also been playing the laning phase pretty well here, much better than I think what the Renekton had gone, because he's having a lot
Prismal,
of
don't do it.
pressure. Prismal, oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, gonna walk away now, gonna know what's up as Akali's gonna track him. Giyu wants it in again, he's just gonna flash in, looks for the dive, gets the execute, and Giyu once again under the tier 2 takes down Prismal.
Thank you, observers, that was great. That's like watching Animal Planet documentary where you're watching the predator just hunt this prey, and Staka, the helpless little deer, could not help his curiosity and eventually get taken down.
That was so much distance covered by Giyu as well. Kind of curious to see that one again if possible, but regardless, Giyu definitely knows his way around this champion. He's making Prismal's life miserable as the red buff steal does not happen. I believe Kenvi has it, but bottom lane is where the action is. Giyu, who's going to be assaulted, but he's in the shroud. Matt's there to save him. And now it's the TP in. Oh, good kick there for Kenvi. Kumo straight under the tower, but the Devour is good for Matt as Kenvi is going to be taken out by Anders. Saligo with the ult. He's going to try and kill Matt, but he goes into the shield there as Giyu's going to tag up Saligo, and EG just going to get the kill and walking out of there. Anders not even done, actually, as he gets the poke down onto Breezy. This is starting to get out of hand, Crumbs.
Whoa, those Nid Spears from the side were deadly. I don't think Kenvi even saw it coming, because that's actually how the Nidalee ended up killing the Lee Sin. And not only has it gotten out of hand for the jungle matchup, but it seems like everywhere 100 Thieves is falling apart despite the concentrated bot lane efforts being so different than last time. They're not really netting kills, they're just getting 100 Thieves really pushed back. They're so reactive now.
Yeah, 100 Thieves were able to have all the objectives controlled. They're able to get leads in their mid lane especially. They kind of kept things afloat in the other lanes and looked very strong scaling up into that mid game. But this time it's like a completely different story. Maybe this is what happens when EG get a lead in the early game, right? They're 4,000 gold ahead. They've got 2 dragons already. And they're continuing to make plays here, although moving up here onto Kumo. Kumo's going to have to back away, but he's already got the Triforce finish. Fake God trying to bait him in, but Kumo will not bite.
Kumo has his ultimate. If anything were to happen, he could escape again like he did last time. And the effort from Lee Sin will fall back. And I mean, going back to that early game point you were making, it feels like the only matchup that had gone poorly from EG was in the mid lane, where the Akali was just getting shoved in. But the Senna Tamkench obviously having a field day in the bottom lane, same thing with the top lane, and especially when bottom ended up dying and having to use the teleport with nothing to gain from it. So I think if EG ends up closing this game out with the lead that they have, we just need to see a very different bottom lane from 100 Thieves, one that can exploit what EG is doing.
Yeah, I mean, Breezy is eating poke with his shield up and is still taking quite a bit of damage. Giyu looking for another solo kill. Onto Sligo he goes. Ulti charge 1. Perfect execution, he's got it. Good kick there for Kenvi. Great follow-up Q, and he is at least going to get the trade. But Giyu is like starting to be a problem in these side lane scrums.
Yeah, because even if he trades 1 for 1, he's still killing you and crashing the wave and getting the gold away from the valuable pick, which is the Orianna. Lee Sin is the champion that you want to just sit there and cash in the entire wave while Nidalee gets to do the Rip Herald up there. So this Akali needs to be contained. But who is going to do it when you have Akali pushing relentlessly, and then the Volibear, who is just practically being a Tryndamere in the top lane, just pushing all day, not really thinking about what's going on, and using his ultimate to get out.
Yeah, Kumo actually has worked quite a bit of this tower's health down already, putting it under 50, and if he wants, can actually just go zip the Herald up there, but mid lane also looking vulnerable, as Deftly and Matt are going to be able to push this in. It looks like Breezy and Prismal ate too much poke in the mid lane once again, because they're not able to defend this tower. It's low enough that they maybe wouldn't want to anyway, and EG, they're going to grab their second tower of this game. 100 Thieves only have 1 kill, Crumbs. That is all they've managed to scrounge up in this game, and EG very rapidly expanding this gold lead.
Okay, I'm starting to pinpoint what I think a problem could be with 100 Thieves. But before, let's see how EU played this out. So starts with Gunblade, Q's out, dashes away. Okay, he's fine. Dashes once more. Q, Shroud takes a turret shot. Hey, if he didn't even take that turret shot, who knows? Maybe Kenvi would not have been able to kill him. But I'm thinking back on the draft, and notice what 100 Thieves keeps doing. They blind so many champions that EG always has an answer to. They blinded the Ezreal, EG gets a counter with the Senna. They blinded the Ornn, EG gets a counter with the Volibear. They blinded the Braum, EG gets a counter with the Tahm Kench. So they're really just taking such an advantage with what 100 Thieves keeps blinding that it turns into these laning phases for EG that just continue to pressure 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Red Side I think has been very good to EG so far this series, so that's another potential change to explore in the upcoming games, but still Game 2 is hanging in the balance. Evil Geniuses have a very big lead. I think it's worth overstating just how far ahead they are right now, but we'll see what they can do in the mid-game, because teams can often find themselves stalling. EG again have not had the smoothest season to get to this point in playoffs, but may have very well cleaned up a lot of that stuff here. At least this second game is looking awfully good. But Kenvi going to try and get the blue. He will in fact steal it, and they're going to be forced to flash away because Fake God is ready with the call of the Forge God. Kumo also going to get out, but he doesn't commit his ulti just yet. 100 Thieves, grouping up, trying to find a pick, but EG just zipping in and out of the jungle. That is one of the strengths of Nidalee. Leander has been so efficient at farming with this champion.
And I really like how he has respected the Lee Sin Qs every time they've come his way, because he is not building the armor Nidalee right now. He's gone, oh, that hurts so much, and there's no one to heal him.
This was Season 1 Nidalee Spear. Did he get the red? No, Prisma got it. That was about to be like the most insulting 1-2 punch ever. Spear you and then take your red buff when you're trying to get it. But Prisma at least was able to get that one. But the Infernal Rift is creating all these channels for EG to aggressively funnel into, and Giyu is drawing multiple members of 100 Thieves' attention here in this bottom lane.
None of these guys can really catch up to me. It's only Kenvi if he can do that. And Giyu still has flash, and there's a Tom Kent that can ult down here. So TP's come out.
Ult 1 by used by Giyu. He's going to try and get out of there. Gets kicked, gets queued. He's going to get followed up by Ander with a heal. Might be able to save his buddy. Kenvi going to go down, but the trade does happen. Now EG still getting in there as Kuma's just diving in onto Saligo. Ander's going to grab the doubles. Prisma goes down. Make it 3, make it 4. Going to be 2 apiece there for Ander and Kumo as the last one, Fake God, is going to give over the ace to Evil Genius's Academy. They wanted the Akali, but it cost them everything.
This Nidalee is such a threat from Ander there. Deletes Prismo, helps out the rest of the team with the heals, and EG just looks like they are completely hitting their stride in playoffs, remembering what they had done last split, having that veteranship from Deathly and Matt, who have played so many games professionally, just really turning up today. Whereas in the 100 Thieves lineup, you do have mostly younger players that, yes, they have won some tournaments before, but to have the kind of veteranship that a player like Someday had before to keep you level-headed, that's missing here.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it. I mean, this trade here, fine, I think, for EG, and then Ander just cleans house in this team fight.
Pretty much one-shots the Ezreal. Spear into combo, gets him deleted, and then there's just nothing else to do. Because Lee Sin has been building lethality. He actually is a pretty relevant damage threat. So if he goes down, that's a big chunk of what you wanted to get out of the rest of the the 100 Thieves lineup when you have an Ezreal that is far behind at 1 and 3.
Yeah, and the other news, I guess, is that not only did they get the ace, but EG actually picked up the 3rd dragon to put themselves on score point as well. So also, the Infernal Soul will be spawning in 4 minutes for Evil Genius's Academy. So an awful lot of things for 100 Thieves to try and navigate. The gold lead is absurd. 8,000 gold between these two teams, and Baron hasn't even been taken once this game. So this is going to be a tough hole to try and climb out of, and Giyu is just continuing to harass anyone who challenges him in the bottom lane.
I think he might have met his match with Ornn, though. It's too much time to try to take him out. In fact, in that time, you could just ask for Lee Sin to walk down, and he could probably make it to help him out. So this might be the best way to hold the Akali at the moment, despite the Abyssal Mass not being completed. And Kenvi will be sneaking down here, hoping to catch a bit of this Akali action thus far. Let's see how they open it up, though, because Fake God is hiding. And it doesn't look like they're going to fall for it. Instead, they're starting the Baron. They suspected, they sniffed it out, and now Kenvi has to beeline all the way.
This is really well played, actually. Kenvi's not going to make it, so they have to get them off the dragon now, but Giyu's TPing in. This flank looks filthy. Prismal, I think, has to try and steal it. Fake God isn't even there, and he doesn't have Smite anyway, so the Baron's going to go to EG. Giyu's going to start the flank off early, as Kumo's going to bring the Storms in onto Saligo. That's 1 kill. That's the Baron. Kenvi's going to die here as well, as it's just all gone wrong for 100 Thieves. Evil Genius Academy looking very clean as Giyu's going to redive back in with a Shuriken Flip. Finally gets himself killed as Prismal's going to get one back, but the rest of EG in trouble. Knock up there for Fake God. Going to try and delay the inevitable, but Kumo found the slow with the W. They're going to get Fake God here by the looks of things, and Breezy maybe on the menu next here as he's trying to save his buddy, but Fake God will be felled by Deathly, who's on a killing spree, by the way, at 3-0 and 7, and EG just going to bust straight through the front door.
They saw the Lee bottom, immediately started it, and I have to say, I do respect the move from Kenvi. You are so far behind. There is nobody that you could possibly kill. except maybe the Akali in combination with the Ornn. You go for the play, and even when he got to the Baron, he actually flashed to try to steal it, and it was close because it ended up being Senna who actually took down the objective. So there was an opportunity there, but that was a Hail Mary move out of 100 Thieves. It goes wrong, and that just puts EG even further ahead. 11,000 gold up at 23 minutes. This might be one of our largest leads of the year.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I think 100 Thieves got saved by the Bell more than anything else because the death timers was so short that EG couldn't actually end the game. So play will continue, but there's an Infernal Soul for EG to take in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I don't see the way that 100 Thieves can test for it. Gyu is continuing to run amok here in the side lane. He's still bottom lane, and definitely, honestly, he's had one of the best center performances I've seen in North America. Like, we don't see this champion all that often. We certainly don't see it in the farming role that commonly, and definitely has made it look so good, not just in the 2v2, but in the team fights as well, which is something that Senna can often feel to struggle to have impact in.
Yeah, and I think that the Senna has been a little bit of an EG flair here, because Bang on the LCS team has also been really favoring this pick. And who better to take tips on your AD bottom lane than from a 2-time world champion? So I think there's a little bit of the LCS team trickling into Deathly, which is what makes him lean towards this pick and away from the Ashe.
Yeah, I would say seems like a pretty good person to learn a thing or two about the role from. Bang is fairly good at League of Legends. A literal 2-time world champion.
Oh, that's better than a single word, than a literal world champion. A 2-time literal world champion.
He's what, one of... Is he one of... No, he's one of 3 players to ever win more than one, right? Oh, Esports 1, 2, 2. One of 4 players? They figured it out yet? By the way, Breezy's dead, don't worry about it, and is on a rampage. Definitely actually maybe in trouble. Good flash though from Definitely, and that burst damage. The RFC just poking poor Kenvy's health bars. We do, I believe, have a pause. We'll get you an update as soon as we know what's going on, but there is clearly a break in the game for now.
I know what's going on. People are dying on the 100 Thieves side.
Yeah, maybe 100 Thieves left. They thought they assumed the game was over. They've gone off to get a snack, and we have to go bring them back. Now, I don't know what's happening. We'll let you know, all jokes aside, as soon as we do have information about why there is a pause. But this game seems done and dusted. I mean, let's at least recap what we see here for the comps here, because it is a slightly different look here for EG with the picks that they have, but I feel like the result has been even better than game 1, which almost prompts me to ask, like, why didn't you play this comp the last game?
Okay, yeah, so here's what I'm thinking. 100 Thieves, you need to ban the Nidalee. I think the Akali is a problem, but I think the Nidalee is really what is allowing things to happen the way they are. She's just so darn strong. I mean, you've got the better Nidalee players in the world are first picking her in LPL. So this is a champion that definitely, if the skill is there, can deliver. I think And is having a really good game on it. When you feel it on this champion, you got to get rid of it. And maybe that can slow down the Akali. But I would just triple ban everything that EG has been doing, because those 3 bans that they've kept, the Caitlyn, Kalista, and Galio, are clearly, I don't think, holding back EG. They already have something else working for them.
Yeah, I feel like Galio actually wasn't even that good. Like, it was fine, but Galio is not even as much of a part of the metagame anymore. Like, we don't see Twisted Fate and Galio nearly as often as we did before this. I also think there is maybe some looks in the bottom lane where you might just have to move Ezreal away from Prisma, or at least give him a pick later to open up some of these other priority picks in the top half of the map. As a note, EG did have connectivity issues, so we're going to be able to get back into the game, but we do need to build that delay back up to 5 minutes for competitive integrity, so we'll jump back into the game once the requisite delay is built up. Again, yes, this game feels like it's all but done, but we still want to play out the game to its completion, even though it's quite one-sided at the moment.
Yes, the completion feels almost there. Seeing that
so close to
auto attack, jeez, that wasn't even. I don't think that was even the Duskblade proc. I'm not sure if that actually came through, but dang, that just shows you the power of that pick right now and the flexibility you get. But we're going to hop right back into the game.
All right. So shortly after, Kenvy got poked by the RFC center. EG still with the Baron buff, by the way. They have this wave on the bottom lane to try and take down another tower. They've already got the mid inhib. This one is definitely off the table, as EG will demolish yet another turret. And they're just pushing in for the kill here. EG going to take this inhib out. They probably don't need to do too much more than... I guess they could take the Infernal Soul if they want it. They're probably going to do that. Call the Forge God here for Fake God. Going to knock up Gyu. Kenvy riding in there. I love the moves, but Just not enough here. EG going to re-engage. Good devour there from Matt. And EG just going to try and get out and thwart off the 100 Thieves aggression here.
They can retreat into the Infernal Soul happily. There was not a very good attempt from the engage on the 100 Thieves side. There was not a lot of flanking. It was just coming from the same angle, but Akali goes in.
Oh, Gyu again going to dive in, but he's going to get CC'd up long enough that Kenvy's going to take him out, but Kumo is going to finish things off as he leaps into the back line there. Now really leaps in with the Stormbringer, but he is going to be shut down there by Soligo. Now a 3v4 here, but EG still have the poke. They do want to try and get the soul if they can, but 100 Thieves should not let them get away with this, but EG are going to go straight for it.
Kenvy's not alive to try to steal that. You've got Prismo ultimate and a control ward in the back, so that's his best shot. Here comes the ultimate.
And it's not good enough. A good smite there from Ander there. I did forget that detail, so good catch there, Crumbs, as Kenvy was not around to challenge for that soul. And now EG in a 3v3 with the Infernal Soul. Matt might get a kill here with the Tongue Lash.
It's a spicy lick.
Makes it close. Keep running in, mixes the next one onto Prismal, and Soligo's trying to shield up his teammates. 100 Thieves, like, they want a kill if they can get it. They're desperately trying to get some gold back in, but they haven't been able to find it. 100 Thieves have to defend two different waves of supers pushing in as they watch this one again.
This was the 100 Thieves engage. Fantastic devour there out of Matt to get Gyu alive, and then he's getting healed up by the rest of the team. And it does not have a lot of mana, which is, I think, what's hurting the team, and they're thinking if they should be going in. But then, this is just so ambitious, but what can you expect? This is Gyu. This is what you get with him. When he wants to go in, he goes in, and half the time he actually pulls it off. So this was a nice look, although the Senna ultimate did not anticipate where 100 Thieves was going to retreat. They went back up instead of down towards the lane, and then the rest of the team just follows up with him. So at least you like to see that the team is on the same page, trying to follow up on their main assassin. But they still get the dragon, and now are just going to do the ceremonious last lane push as you have the double inhibitors already down.
Yep, Baron also back up in 40 seconds, so if EG need another way to close out the game, they certainly have the avenue available to them. They're up 11,500 gold, and we're not even at the 30-minute mark yet, so there is a chance for 100 Thieves, but it is very slim given where we are right now. So we'll see how this game looks to end here as EG poised to go 2-0 up in this series. As at least mid-respawn, Prismal's going to have a little easier time keeping those waves at bay, but maybe not the Akali that's currently rampaging down towards the mid lane.
Yeah, they are splitting them apart, and they can just go to the Baron. They're just going to play it nice and easy. They have full control of the blue side. Again, best case scenario would have been an Ezreal steal here, but it's already been used to clear other minion waves, so they're just going to get this while Gyu plays bodyguard and prevents anybody from coming in. But with the Lee Sin clearing minions from the mid lane, they know there's no threat of a steal. They'll just get this nice and easily, and hopefully go on their last push to end the game. I think they have more than enough. You've got every resource you could possibly want right now.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to how much map control they had. Like, that is not a very fast Baron at all between those three. Senna, I think, one of the slowest champions at doing Baron for a marksman. And EG still had more than enough time that Kenvy wasn't even close to threatening a steal. So, very cleanly played here for EG. They really haven't let go of the lead at all since they built it up. And looking like they're back in form here, right on time. Looking to peak in playoffs here as EG going to finish off this top tier 2. We'll see where 100 Thieves do want to make their stand.
Okay, so if they are going to make a stand, it definitely has to be here at the tier 3. You could try for at the Nexus for sure, but that's always one of the highest risks because you are getting just harassed by minions from non-stop, and when you've got champions like Ezreal and Lee Sin, you don't want to be fighting with those many creeps. They're actually going to get in the way of you hitting your very important skill shots. Heck, even a champion like Braum is going to be annoyed by these super creeps.
Yeah, mid lane inhib's going to go down though, and they can just work on this last one here in top lane. The poke is good. Soligo gets battered by a javelin there from Ander. Prismal vaulting mid because he's just going to clear out the wave. Kumo is tanking everything. Not a care in the world here for the Death Dance Baron. EG going to finish off this last inhibitor tower as well. 100 Thieves are starting to run out of stuff to defend.
That might be the story of the game.
And yeah, EG take the inhib. They're going to go for the Nexus now. Kumo took out the last inhib because it respawned in bottom lane, I believe. And now mid lane, the Call of Fort Gods out, but the Nexus towers are down. Last stand here for Kenvy as he gets blown up there by Ander and the rest of the EG squad. And now they're just going to walk in and finish up the game, but not before Gyu has a chance to dive in. Perfect execution, takes out Breezy. And now the Nexus is open, but they want the kills first. FLICKR with a very nice looking knockup is definitely supposed to flash away, and now he's going to finish off the Nexus as EG will take a 2-0 lead in the series.
What a turn from how Game 1 started, where it looked like 100 Thieves had so much control of the jungle. This was just a slaughter from the very beginning. They held their lanes everywhere. The lead in the mid lane was nowhere near as big, and the jungle matchup was completely in their favor this time around. The set looked better than the lead, despite Kenvi being known as a fantastic lead player from solo queue.
Yeah, it just felt like none of his lanes were in a position where he could do anything particularly aggressive. It basically devolved into a farm fest, which is really good news for Akali, for Italy instead. Good news for Ander. And then from there, it just felt like there wasn't anything they could really do. The objective control they had wasn't there because Salugo wasn't getting nearly the same advantage. Bottom lane had no control on the 100 Thieves side. That was all EGA in the 2v2, so they had all the control of the dragons. And even top lane, Kuma was doing just fine in the 1v1. Like, FLICKR's expected to take a loss here or there in that lane, so it's not like he can really influence much either. And once they got ahead, it just felt like a very smooth little snowball. But let's watch this Akali again. The note here from production is that Akali is sick, and I agree. Gyu looking so clean on this champion.
And this is where the rest of the team is ready to back him up. He's got the Shroud ready, the Tahm Kench comes in, and then Volibear. But watch this Nidalee Spear. Bam! Kenvi actually used the safeguard on himself instead of somebody else. That is what gets him killed. But then Akali goes off and still continues to assault the bottom lane. Yeah, you trade 1 for 1, but it doesn't matter. You call down the attention while your jungler is getting you Herald. That's a win.
Yep, and it felt like from there, it didn't really get any easier. EG just continued to snowball the game. We'll take a look now at one of their team fights in the middle of that game. It was right before the dragon, and this was the ace that went into the third dragon, if I recall correctly. And again, it's Gyu that's starting off the trouble.
This is a fight I could watch multiple times for how many different things ended up playing out. So you got all the members of 100 Thieves piling in the middle there. And then it's just that EG is so darn fed where the carries can get to play their range, and everything has been spent on the Akali to try to take him out. Yeah, he's an assassin, he's not that tanky, but they have to go so far out of their way to make sure that Gyu gets deleted because he's such a threat. I would be baffled, Pastry, to see Akali or Nidalee, neither of the two getting banned in the next series because they are having such a strong impact in these two games.
Yeah, and there's the team comps again. I'm really impressed actually by Deathly's center as well, and Matt Tahm Kench looking good, although I think he's able to play this lane with a bunch of different champions, but I kind of agree that like I just don't think you have enough bans to attack the bottom lane here. I think if you just want Prismal on Ezreal, that's fine. Maybe just give them comfort, but I think move their picks a little bit further down in the draft to try and open up more space because you have to attack something in this mid-jungle duo, I feel like. Otherwise, Ander and Gyu are just going to roll over this game with Nidalee and Akali.
Man, you can free up a lot of those Kalista or Caitlyn bans and count on EG to first pick it because 100 Thieves is going to the red side now. And if you can rely on EG first picking one of these marksmen, it does free you up to make sure that you can pinch something else. Maybe pinch the mid 2v2 if you wanted to take the Nidalee or the Akali for yourself and get something going on that way. So there is a lot that you can do with these hard bans or these champions that a lot of teams have been hard pressed to first pick, like the Caitlyn or Kalista.
All right, well, with that victory, Evil Geniuses have cemented a 2-0 lead over 100 Thieves Academy, so we're stepping away, but on the other side of the break, 100 Thieves will be fighting for their playoff lives in Game 3. Don't miss it. Welcome back for our third and potentially final game in our best of 5 series as EG has a 2-0 lead over 100 Thieves Academy and Crumbs. If you're a betting man, I think you would bet on EG sweeping this series. They have just looked better and better as the games have gone on.
Yeah, and if you're also a betting man that wants statistics to back you up, with 100 Thieves going over to the red side, for most of League of Legends history, blue side tends to be the winning side by a slight margin, just around 51 to 54% is how it fluctuates. So going over to red side on the side of 100 Thieves is more of a, we need to change things up drastically because what we have tried in the first 2 games is clearly not working, and it doesn't strike me so much so as a, we are comfortable in the red side and we have prepared very specific red side strategies.
I'm actually kind of curious because, yes, that is true historically. Blue side has been the slightly favored side in League, but I feel like at least in the playoffs games we've seen so far in North America, red side seems very potent right now, and I think it's probably to do with the fact that so many champion changes happen on this patch that as teams kind of figure it out, assuming that the available champion pool is quite wide for pro play, counterpick becomes a lot more valuable because you, of course, get to see and line up your matchups. So it does kind of feel like the team that's figuring out this patch the fastest is going to have an advantage throughout playoffs because, again, we'll be on this patch for quite a while throughout the duration of the postseason. And I think EG are very happy, Crumbs, that the patch hit when it did because this team could not play the other metagame with the global control mages, with the slower style of play. But this meta seem very comfortable with a wider array of more aggressive champions available to them.
And they still have more to show. We know they have more to show because we have seen them do it last playoffs. We have seen them do it the Split, the Aurelia. You have other carry champions from Anda, whether it's the Olafs. You could also be playing Graves, Kindred, you name it. So there's a lot that they can do in the mid 2v2. And it has been, I think, that 100 Thieves had confidence in themselves from how first game went. Let the same picks go through again, got smoked by them, now has to think about, well, okay, what did we feel was a really big problem? We've been talking about the mid 2v2, but also pointing at the Ezreal pick, and wow, banning it away from Prismal, self-ban.
That is so interesting. Like, I mean, clearly 100 Thieves' read on the power of that champion is different to mine. And whether that's a matchup-specific thing or a player-specific thing or just that Ezreal is really good, we don't know. But, I mean, definitely Ezreal is pretty good. I don't think Ezreal is better than the other meta marksman right now, but clearly good enough in their eyes that they'll take it away. They'll also take away from Italy, which we're very happy to see. And then Ziggs continuing to get banned by EG, and Azir and Galio also going to eat.
I have a speculation as to why the Ezreal has been banned, and this comes from seeing what matchups they have played, because they've played Ezreal Braum and Ezreal, what was the first one? Ezreal Tahm Kench, right?
Yes.
So banning, you would pick Ezreal if you feel like you are not that great at abusing lanes, at winning lanes early. You're more about, I want to just survive the laning phase and get by. So if you're not comfortable with playing that style in hard winning lane, you're not going to want to give Ezreal to your opponents because you don't want to play that way, or at least it's not that, it hasn't been that successful, it's not what you're planning to do, etc. But it's surprising because we have definitely seen Prismal have those kinds of games. So I think it might have to do with what is the champion pool that the supports can play, but we are now seeing a much better and more stable pick, a much more lane dominant champion, the Ashe.
Oh yeah.
Comboed with the Graves. This is now looking like a very standard draft, so we can start from scratch.
I feel like Kenvi is like slowly increasing his draft priority in this series. He's like, I've been playing pretty well. Give me a Lee Sin. He's like, I'm playing really well. Give me that Graves guy. He's pretty good. And Kenvi's certainly very good on the champion, but this does look a little more standard. Does mean Morgana gets given over though, so given the way the 2v2 went the last game, especially, definitely a map presenting a very potent threat in that matchup.
Now, are you suspicious at all that Aurelia was the third ban when we haven't seen a single game of Aurelia and not Akali?
No, because Giyu's Aurelia is such a known quantity, but it's interesting that, like, they're clearly more afraid of Giyu just going off on one of his comfort picks than how good his Akali is looked. And Giyu's like, you know what? If you're going to keep giving me Akali, I'm going to keep taking Akali, especially if the only counter pick Silly Ghost presented is Orianna, right? Like, Giyu can get by in the Orianna matchup, and he's shown that already. In fact, he got even better at it in the last game, despite not really much changing in the draft.
Right, you're giving him 2 games of warm-up now.
Yeah.
So this Akali is only going to get better. And now he's got a black shield to go in and be even more impactful. But yes, this is what we needed to see from the beginning from 100 Thieves, harassing in the bottom lane, something very aggressive. Karma's going to be a fine matchup into Morgana, although for some reason Morgana got buffed and Karma ended up getting nerfed, so it might not be as one-sided as 100 Thieves would like it to be, but with a little bit of jungle help, a little bit of love down there, the Ashe and Karma can turn the tides for the 100 Thieves bottom lane.
Alright, well there's Olaf banned away, so Ander gonna lose even more champions now. And Kemby with the early Graves could make this a very miserable experience for Ander, as GP is going to get banned away from FLICKR. He did look good on that in Game 1, so I actually like taking that away from him as well. If they do want to give FLICKR something like the Ornn again, it doesn't feel like he was nearly as dominant in the laning phase and had as much of an impact, despite Ornn being a very good champion and FLICKR being very good on it. I think 100 Thieves are probably looking to give a bit more power to FLICKR and Kenby, which of course they've already done with that Graves pick for their jungler.
Yeah, they can set up their top lane right now because you know you can just blind your mid lane. It wouldn't even be a blind, pardon. You already see that Giyu's going to be playing Akali, so you might actually even take a different matchup knowing that you have had Orianna twice and it hasn't worked out despite Soligo laning fine against it. And the Kindred will be banned as well. So I actually think the Olaf ban was not so much against the Graves matchup, but more against the Ashe and Karma, because Olaf can definitely obliterate them. And the Sylas being banned here tells me that EG is just going to blind an Ornn here and is threatening 100 Thieves. Hey, would you like to blind the top right now and give Kumo the opportunity to counter it? Because if you don't, then we're going to take it and you're not going to have the Ornn. They take away the mid lane, which I definitely appreciate.
And Soligo going to take LeBlanc here, so very aggressive mid lane matchup now. Certainly can be very effective alongside Kenby. I think a lot of action is going to be happening in the 100 Thieves top side of the map, and I think they'll probably just try and chill out and farm it out in the 2v2, which I feel like was their plan all along. I think they just realized that they need to be playing a little bit faster, given what EG are presenting, and be respectful of the teleports EG have as well. I think that's the other big thing. You know, we've had 2 games in a row now where Evil Geniuses have just TP'd to the bottom lane almost on cue and instantly gotten an advantage.
And that advantage is going to be even easier to get now, but we have seen how deadly Morgana Caitlyn can be in the bottom lane, so there's definitely something to be said for the bot lane getting another advantage here, and Anda will take away Lee Sin. So it's a pretty well-rounded, lot of early game power from EG with late game insurance, and then the Shen into Renekton. It's a fine matchup, and we have a very different look from 100 Thieves. We've seen today already what Shen and LeBlanc can do in the Evil Genius FlyQuest game.
Yeah, I like this last pick a lot, actually. I'm almost surprised that Shen wasn't the pick there for Kumo, because it had been banned against him twice already. Especially with GP banned, at least one of the bad matchups is off the table, but perhaps FakeGod has more counter picks, and Kumo just didn't want to expose himself, so instead he picks Renekton, which is super solid and gives FakeGod the opportunity to play the Shen himself. I think, again, focusing on the mid jungle and the top side in general for the Thieves being their point of power, Shen is a really good champion, enabling both the mid laner and the jungler here. So a difference again. We'll see if the difference in strategy changes the outcome here for 100 Thieves, because they had a lead in game 1 and then kind of fell off at the end with the soul. Like it's kind of a rough last 2 team fights more than anything else. Shook that game off. Got blasted in game number 2, to be perfectly honest, and now resetting things for game 3, because they do have to win 3 straight crumbs if they do want to continue here in Academy playoffs.
And they're starting with a different angle against the Akali. So remember way back in the patch where Blitzcrank, Renekton and I think somebody else got shield breaking added to their spells. Karma in that same patch got reveal or her tether reveals, so it actually would reveal the Akali now. So there is a better way to deal with Giyu diving into you now that the bottom lane can offer. So I might actually get to see this Karma be a good answer to Akali from the bottom lane, but they first have to get out of the laning phase, which has been a big trouble for Prismal and Breezy this series.
Yeah, especially with how many people end up teleporting down there before 10 minutes. We are going to take a quick break to establish game delay as per usual, but we'll have the third and possible final game from the start when we return. So see you in a few. Welcome back to game number 3, where Evil Geniuses Academy are 2-0 ahead of 100 Thieves Academy and Crumbs. Unfortunately for the Thieves, it has gone from bad to worse. After a fairly close game 1, where the last few team fights just didn't break their way, EG have found their form once again. Even though the picks are going to change up a little bit here, EG still feel like they're in firm control of their style and also this series.
And I think that control comes from the mid lane. 3 games in a row does Giyu get his Akali, and he has been phenomenal on all games thus far. So we have no indication that that performance is going to stop this time around. But 100 Thieves have given themselves a little bit better tools to deal with the Akali this time around. It's going to be in an aggressive matchup in the mid lane with the LeBlanc and the Graves, and you got the Tether that we've already spoken with. And maybe the Shen can actually be the difference maker in those side lane fights. We have seen how many times Giyu picking away Prismal or picking away Saligo. If you just had a Shen ultimate that could help you out, you would prevent a lot of these plays from happening, and maybe that is where 100 Thieves feel the most comfortable in what they need to address, and they can move forward from there and have a solid game, because the first game they were winning up until they lost.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the right side for winning as far as this series goes. Red side has won all the games so far in this series, so it does feel like counterpick has been pretty valuable, at least on the EG side. So we'll see what 100 Thieves can do with the way they've navigated this particular draft. I do agree with you in that it's not the Akali specifically in like lane that's the problem. It's that she tends to affect the other lanes, most notably bottom lane, which has been the target of constant harassment from Evil Geniuses Academy. So Prismal and Breezy with Ignite, Karma with Comet in the bottom lane. I love to see some aggression. Love to see this as well, Crumbs. We talked about wanting to see some fast first bloods to shore up the Samsung SSD Fast 5, and this is one way to get it potentially.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, what a clutch board! What?
And the binding.
Map hacks.
Well, they do have a sweeper, so at least somebody gets a little bit of extra gold. It's actually Breezy that kills the ward for 10 extra. But Matt's going to go ahead and back away.
That is so good from EG. They are playing on point today. They actually even get to sneak into the red side now. So 100 Thieves actually waste so much effort going for that play that now to retake their red side of the map could be a travesty. Although it doesn't look like Anda or Kumo are particularly stoked about trying to take on a Graves this early on.
100 Thieves also suspecting this, so they will spot Anda leaving the jungle. Now they should be just fine going to start on the buff, and Anda is going to go ahead and start his jungle as well. So no shenanigans at level 1. I mean, they were, but nothing resulted of them, just a ward being killed, as Matt did get the requisite information. FLICKR even going to help leash Kenvi here, so he's going to be the one on the power clear. This is kind of an inverse of the Nidalee versus X matchups we've seen in our first 2 games, where Anda was on the Nidalee. And that was great from Key.
He gives himself the thumbs down. It's like, oh, that was bad. I should have done better.
Matt also getting harassed. That Karma power at level 1. I mean, she starts with, you know, her ultimate, or an ability, and that Q is so powerful. So Prismal and Breezy are going to have the early poke. I am curious to see when this matchup turns, and if Defla can really find a lot of harassment here on the Caitlyn, but Ashe also pretty good into Caitlyn as well, as Kenvi's going to sneak into the enemy jungle thanks to Saligo's early push. So this is a very well disguised invade here for Kenvi.
Not only is the mid lane push, but the bot lane as well. And because they know that Anda had to leave the red side earlier of 100 Thieves side, they know that he wouldn't have actually started on this side. So this just plays out super well. Already have an idea of where Anda is at. And let's see what Kenvi can actually do with this, though. Because now he is technically behind in camps. Or sorry, well, not really behind. He did take the Raptors, but there is an opportunity for him to get a fight that is not in his favor here, but already using the smite, it looks pretty darn good from the Graves, because I don't think he's going to be invading anytime soon.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and take the rest of this camp, but Kenvi's already done the necessary damage. He's going to go back and clear out all of his blue side jungle. He's going to be nice and ahead here on farming experience early on in the jungle matchup.
Oh, he's also taking his Raptors too.
Oh, that's just rude. It takes them all away, so Kenvi now very far ahead in this 1v1. Going to get the crab as well on spawn, it looks like. Yep. Straight on he goes.
Okay, so Anda should have an idea of what the heck Kenvi has been up to, because he can go to his top crab and at least claim that objective. He does have to clear the chickens real quick so that he doesn't get those out of order with the respawns, and it looks like we're going to have a battle for that top crab. Renekton does have priority, but with Kenvi pathing this way and shoving out the mid lane, you know he wants to just bring the hurt to Anda.
He's fleet footwork as well, so much more about, like, you know, fighting in your face. Anda is, with the smite, should be able to get this crab, but Kenvi's going to try and turn it off. In fact, he just slows up Anda, has the red buff ready to go, level 4 as well for this Graves. Going to sweep away this ward. This is bullying here for Kenvi on this Graves. This is kind of what we wanted to see, right? Like, this is this hotshot, aggressive jungler who's so good on a variety of champions, but he is taking charge of this early game here for 100 Thieves, down 0-2 in this playoff series.
He is definitely doing a lot to push Anda out of the jungle, so he's applying a lot of pressure and it's letting his lanes be aggressive. Although Anda's jungle is actually going to be somewhat fine because he gets routed back to the top side and does get to clear out the second spawn of the Gromp, so he's going to get a little bit more XP from that one. While Kenvi, this is the first time he's clearing the Krugs and will then go back to the Raptors, but he finishes his blue side. That's probably what he's going to do to make sure that Anda gets set behind when he claims his farm. So once he clears the blue side is when I think he'll be ahead, but not by as much as what one would think. I really think that Anda can just clear out this side because look at that. The the doubles have already spawned for him and they're even in gold.
Yeah, Kenvi just farming through, but no one's gone back to shop yet. Kenvi finally going to go ahead and take a base. Actually, I take that back. Looks like Lucian has shopped as Anda. Yeah, did actually just take his recall then. As you can see, Skirmisher Saver is all done. And going to be the same story here for Kenvi. So as you mentioned, Crumbs, not really that far behind at all. We'll see if Kenvi can extend a possible lead here now as he gets back out to finally clear the right-hand side of the map. As Fake God and Kumo are still doing battle. Fake God's feeling just fine here. Down a little bit of CS, but nothing too dramatic here for the Shen. Should be fine in the 1v1. It really is going to be about, you know, what happens in these combined plays here. As again, the bottom lanes just can't stop trading with each other.
It's looking a lot better there now for 100 Thieves. Once they have the Karma, they actually get to push up, but they've already burnt their TP, so I think that's the big difference here, because Deathly has saved his, although Matt has burnt his heal, and we have our first little attention to the bottom lane, just clearing out some more vision. Already getting a ton of value from the sweeper is Canby. Does spot out that control ward in the back, but still hunting out Anda.
Yeah, he wants to just challenge him at this camp here. Doesn't see him. Oh, he's going for the Drake instead? No. Just getting out of there. Maybe couldn't see gear, so that's what he was worried about. So Anda will finish off the camp and take it. And there's Kenvi. Did see the ward. He's going to get spotted doing this Drake, but he's going to try and again do two very different camps together as Matt is being poked out by Breezy. TP in from... Is that gear? No. That's definitely... He's coming back to lane. Got it. And EG now TPing into the back of the Dragon Pit. Giyu wants to challenge Kenvi. He's level 6 on this Akali, but has to very quickly flip out of the pit.
Okay, I think Kenvi might go back to it. It's very bold of Kenvi to have started this Dragon after have cleared or used a sweeper and seen a ward from the back and not killed it. Like, you never actually want to do a Dragon this early on in full vision of your opponents, because they can obviously react and fight you. You're not that strong just yet, but it looks like Kumo and Anda have taken the opportunity to now do some counter jungling against Kenvi. Fake God has ultimate and Kenvi just dashes in because he knows that the Shen can help him out. Worst comes to worst. He's already in base, so TP back the lane, and all is well in the top lane.
Yeah, Anda though already got the red buff away, so all of Kenvi's hardware kind of undone there by that heads up play from Kumo, starting the red buff for his jungler.
He messed his tempo up doing that Dragon. He could have continued to go get his clear and get ahead of him, but because of that attempt that was stopped by Giyu, he's now just back to even, in fact, a little behind in the camps with the Lee Sin. So that's a lesson out there for a lot of people, that the Dragon start is a big commitment, and it does mess you up if you were trying to go for the hardcore counter jungling and putting the enemy down.
No, Kenvi continuing to farm camps up. He was on the red, but actually I think he wants to do this Dragon again instead. He is apparently drawn to this objective, and he will be able to get it by the looks of things. The bottom lanes have reset, and Prismal and Breezy already had the push going on. So this should be an easy finish here of the Dragon here for 100 Thieves. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes later than Kenvi would have liked. So it is going to be a trade of the Riftchild here as well by the looks of things. Nice binding there from Matt. Finds the Ligo, and they're going to follow up here, but you cannot land that E. Very tricky to pin down the LeBlanc with the ulti. but it's just going to be a trade on the right and left-hand sides of the map. It's Dragon for Rift Herald #1.
Rift Herald, and it also comes with the price of the red side jungle from EG. Kenvi can go counter jungle this again, the red buff is up, and with a Shen with ultimate available, Caitlyn has to be super respectful of the possibility of the teleport coming in, but the rest of EG knows that Kenvi's there and dashes into Kate. Trap.
Yeah, oh, good trap there actually. Kenvi now locked up, and FLICKR's going to come in. Arrow's going to miss though from Prismal. And FLICKR just going to be drawn down here. Now can't make it back to the top lane. Does dodge the binding from Matt as he goes over the wall. But a big commitment there being used by FLICKR to save his jungler. Gives him a couple free plates.
Really like the fact that they ran away from that to just help out the Renekton and give him a little bit more gold. And we get to see what from the observers, just how much he's got. It's about 600, 700 gold up, and now will be 860 gold ahead.
And bottom lane also on the other side looking very good this time around for Prismal and Breezy. This is one of those things where I'm like, I'm really curious, like, why Israel? You know, like,
right.
Clearly play this champion. Like, Breezy, I'm pretty sure has played Karma this split as well. It's certainly something that I feel like he was comfortable on. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly Karma, right? But if you were comfy taking Ashe,
this looks great.
The most popular marksman, like, yeah, why Israel? Maybe we'll find out if we talk to Prismal if they win this series. There we go. That's my promise to all the fans out there.
Nice, okay.
We'll find out.
We can start formulating the questions we want to ask the winner's interview.
Of course, who the winner is still to be determined. EG looking good, but do need to close out one more game in the next 3. Right now, the Taylor game not looking so hot, but the gold is even for now. We'll see what happens when all the plates are finished off, because it looks like Prismal and Breezy are going to finish off this tower. This is basically just 2v2, with maybe a bit of help from Kenvi's jungle pressure.
They played exactly what we wanted to see, where EG committed their pick first, but a fight is breaking out.
That's such a good flash ult there from Matt. Prismal's going to get locked up forever and has to dodge the trap. He does do so. Arrow onto Definitely is very nice, but it's not going to last long enough as Caitlyn's going to grab the first blood. Now Ander onto Breezy with the ace in the hole is going to give Definitely the double kill.
Fantastic punish there out of EG. They knew that Prismal and Breezy were going to overcommit for the turret. It's a big deal to get that right away, but now if you also give Ander the opportunity to pop that Herald in the bottom lane, you're going to more than make up for that. So here we go. I mean, Prismal is basically in melee range of the turret to try to go for that, so Matt does a great job just flashing in, knowing that he's got this one lined up. And even though the Caitlyn trap does not miss, and it actually kind of looks like Prismal could turn it around with all the minion waves, it's not enough. And then Kenvi does a really nice job in letting the Caitlyn get the double kill. Thumbs up too. And once we go back to live, we get to see exactly how many plates have gone down in the bottom lane. Almost all of them. So all that early work that Prismal and Breezy had done pretty much gets undone from that overcommitment for the tier 1.
Breezy no flash, can't really chase here despite the fact that Definitely Matter low. Can be ready with the ulti, but Ander going to keep him at bay as Kenvi does not find an angle to try and punish after the initial punish that EG performed on the bottom lane. So it does feel like no matter what happens in the game state, even when the 2v2 goes as well as it did, EG somehow find themselves in the bottom lane getting kills.
And that was when the Shen ultimate was not available. They would have loved to have that spell up for that, so EG knew exactly when they needed to strike.
Oh, I see you. I still see you. You're going to get locked up, and Saligo, oh, he's trying to get the kill without the ignite, but Kenvi with the ultimate, what an angle, finds Giyu over the wall. Collateral damage indeed.
That is the power of the Karma against the Kali. Finally, we get to see an answer against Giyu that isn't trading 1-for-1 with him. 100 Thieves decides to attack him and get some more plates, and it seems like wherever they move this mid 2v2, they're just gonna get, or the spot 2v2, they're just gonna get more plates. So it's a good idea for them to just move them around the map and try to accumulate as much gold as possible, because the Morgana Caitlyn is coming. That late game is going to be happening, especially now that Caitlyn got a bounty on her head. So they need to make sure that the Ashe hits as far ahead of her as possible to close out the objective game quickly. There's 20 seconds on the Dragon, so that's where Kenvi will be going next.
Yeah, FLICKR still just fine here. 15 CS down, but not too upset by how the 1v1 is going. It is played the Ruin King first again, though, for Kumo, so is erring on the aggressive side with this Renekton build. wanting to challenge Fake God as often as he can in the side lane. Essence Reaver also done for Prismal, as blue buff gets donated over to Soligo, who has the Ludo and Zeko already finished and is going to be playing in this side lane right now. There's also a Dragon up and available, so 100 Thieves can try and start that Soul Snowball if they want.
So they have Renekton coming down from the side of EG. He's not going to teleport, he's just walking. And if 100 Thieves takes a while here, it's going to give EG the edge because the Renekton is just going to be that much faster. Shen needs to just be crashing this wave and threatening to take down the turret ASAP. It looks like EG's just going to start it with the Crocodile here and maybe save his teleport for the top lane. So Ligo's looking for an angle to maybe come in with a Stand United, but they're just so late, they're just giving it up.
Yeah, they have no vision is the big problem. EG just muscled their way in, put the control wards down, and so it's just a trade here of objectives perhaps for 100 Thieves, as Fake God is indeed working on the tower. In the topside jungle though, can be almost straight up 1v1s poor Kuma, who again is not very tanky on this Croc. We saw this a lot in game 1 where Kuma was often the target of 100 Thieves assault, and it's because with Blade the Ruin King first especially, he's just not tanky.
That brand new shank that Graves has in his inventory, the serrated dirt, just does so much against Kuma, who doesn't even have ninja tabis to deter some of that. And that actually helps out Fake God so much, who can now continue to push the top lane. Instead, we'll use the time, get a quick little recall and get a Sunfire, but it looks like Soligo might be caught in no man's land.
Yeah, Gear already used his first ult charge there, but he's trying to chase down the Sakali, which is going to be easier said than done. Soligo's just going to walk out of there, so he's going to be fine. Gear does burn the ultimate charge there. On the other side though, Kenvi going to go ahead and pick up the Rift Herald, so he's going to be able to drop that in the top lane if he wants. We'll see where he does when I use that objective in a moment. Soligo is trying to keep Ander away from his jungle, but it's lit up once again by EG, who have a very good handle on this map as the gold is nice and even, despite how well the 2v2 has gone for 100 Thieves, and in general how well the lanes are doing. Still a very even game moving in towards this mid game.
And it doesn't seem like anybody's ready to make a giant move there. EG knowing they're on match point, and 100 Thieves knowing they need to be super composed if they actually want to make the reverse sweep. We did it earlier, but this is not the lower bracket playoff. This is the old school, the cutthroat, the ruthless playoffs. You lose and you're out.
Yep, no second chances here, Crumbs. As Fake God and Kuma continuing to do battle. I'm impressed that Fake God is just able to be fine in this Renekton matchup, despite how much Kuma is trying to kill the Shen. Curious to see if the side lane matchup changes at all, or if it's just going to be them kind of butting heads as they look for farm. Also, 2 items very beautifully completed in sync by Deathly and Matt, i.e. up now for Deathly, who's got the extra critical cloak alongside it. And the Shirelli is there as well for Matt to speed him and his teammates into battle.
There was a little bit of art there, seeing both of those items coming out at the exact same moment too.
Soligo also challenging Kumo in the top lane now, so maybe a bit more of a permanent switch. I think I like this.
Yeah.
Soligo pretty good at harassing the Renekton, and Fake God's fine basically wherever he wants to be.
Kumo should not take this challenge. This is a much scarier challenge than against Fake God, because Fake God can attach himself onto Soligo and suddenly you are getting swamped. And this might be the time where the Shen comes up. Instead, it's going to be the Ashe
That's Prismal.
teleports.
Arrow! Aww. Oh, actually, maybe Ander's the arrow target. Good kick there for Ander to disengage Kenvi, who was looking to chase him down. Again, no phase rush there, but still the fleet footwork putting in work for Kenvi as he looks to dash in onto the Lee Sin. Kenvi still needs to drop this Rift Tail too. He's running low on time to use it, but good Hawkshot there's going to reveal 2 in the brush. EG though trying to get down this mid tower, and Kenvi is caught out trying to clear a ward. Ander misses that Q though. Binding's going to hit Breezy, but nothing eventful happening just yet. Definitely trying to work down this mid-outer tower more than anything else. But a lot of poke damage there from Breezy and Prismal.
It's going to take quite some time to heal back up. They're going to need more than a single wave to keep up with the harass that the Karma Ashe are delivering. And it is really troubling for EG to actually go for a play on one of these members, because the Akali has a much harder time canceling the Shen ultimate than the Renekton does. So if they were to ever find Kenvi, for example, he's got flash, dash, smoke, screen, and ultimate to create a distraction and buy some time for the Shen to get in.
I actually think now after the Akali ultimate change, the only way for her to stop Shen ulting is by killing him. I guess you could also, okay, the other, it's not a solution, but the other thing you can do is E onto the Shen and then follow. But it does take a long time to flip all the way over the map. It's not that efficient, but you can do it. It's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of Akalis die at a fountain that way.
Oh yes. It's a good one. But yeah, she doesn't have a mini stun on her ult anymore, so she can't actually cancel the TP without killing Shen.
That's so interesting though, because that might actually be the way that they're thinking about this as well. They're thinking, well, if Shen goes, I can follow.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm coming. I have 2 globals as well, Shen. Let me borrow your ulti. Alright, Gi is also in trouble, so... well, I desperately want to see the interaction now. Oh, we're going to have to see how Gi navigates this. He has been spotted by Kenvi, but he's going to leap on. There's a Stand United. Gi going to go back in, looking for the execution, but Saligo finds out instead as Kenvi blows him up with a bit of a taunt there from FLICKR. EG though rolling on in. See you later, Kenvi, as Kumo is going to get that kill, and Prismal is letting the arrows fly, but FLICKR going to get the taunt onto Kumo. EG trying to regroup here for the rest of this fight. But Saligo finds the chain and he's going to get his second kill there. But into the trap he goes. That looks disastrous there as definitely he's going to be able to grab that kill. And the Caitlyn now with the black shield on. He's going to keep fighting it out. And getting low does get out. And a great binding there from Matt is going to keep him alive. But I don't think Caitlyn can survive. A flash taunt there for FLICKR. It's going to force Definitely to flash. But the black shield's on and Definitely's going to have to kite this out for a very long time. And it's not long enough. Matt's going to die as well. And Anders somehow going to be the only survivor after all the mess.
Prismal just popped off in that fight. No one thought that he was going to be a major target, but he just stayed there relentless from the backline doing so much damage. But now Giyu has TP. Did anybody even notice that he was here? Graves is coming from the backside. He wants to 1v3 this.
He doesn't have ult. Into Shroud though, gets ignited, so dancing back around. Looking for FLICKR, but again, Tanky, oh, he misses that E. That's critical. He's dead. And Prismal going to take yet another kill. Pops the well played, and they'll take the Drake as well.
Oh, this might be the fight that gets 100 Thieves the confidence they need to actually begin the reverse sweep pastry. They got the Dragons, they've got an Ashe that feels really good, and it's something that they had not had all game, which all series, a bottom lane that was really doing great. The Ezreal just night and day compared to what the Ashe Karma are doing.
Yeah, this is, again, so interesting that we went 2 games without seeing Ashe at all, but this looks great. I mean, if these are the meta, I mean, Morcade is like the meta bot lane right now. So if you can play this lane this well, then I think you'll be feeling pretty comfortable moving forward in the series. Just, again, giving more tools to Kenvi and Saligo. I mean, even if the lane went even, I think they'd be fine, but it's been much better than that for Prismal and Breezy.
They got first brick on their own.
Yeah, they did die for it, but they did, yes, they did do that. We can't take away from the fact that they were extremely dominant in the 2v2 pushing. As Blue Buff goes over to Giyu, Prismal continuing to find angles for these arrows, has it almost back and ready to go, and Giyu's going to be the target. Revealed he is indeed. Arrow's going to fly, and the flip came up just in time.
Ooh, and Giyu has not been having the same game that he has had in the past few games. He's 0-3 this time. Now, he continues to look for the same kind of play, which is exciting. It's what we always see him do, whether it's Aurelia, Kali, or another bruiser. But when it goes wrong, it really goes wrong. Although, I have a feeling that from seeing this guy play these kinds of champions for a whole year, he's going to find a fight that actually works, despite it being like, oh, he's looking for a 1v3 or even trying to go and take down the Graves and you have a Shen ultimate. He's going to look for these plays and be relentless at it, and it's up to 100 Thieves to actually find the opportunity to punish him for it. And in this fight, I just want to look at Prismal there because he's hiding back and the rest of the team is just following his lead. When he's dealing damage, they can push forward, and yes, the LeBlanc gets into a trap, but then you've got an Ashe that volleys 3 people at the same time and just can pick whoever she wants and take them out. I think had they focused her first, this would have been a very different fight from EG.
Yeah, FLICKR also putting in work here. Breezy just continually enchanting his allies, even slows down Matt to ensure the 4th kill gets donated over. So very well played by 100 Thieves in that fight. He with a very ambitious look at the fight, almost made it work. That one wasn't able to quite get it as Prismal's going to go ahead and get the red buff as well. Also collapse here onto Kumo. Breezy going to get the slow. FLICKR lining up the taunt. Arrow is wonderful. And there's the black shield down from Matt. So critical to try and save Kumo's life, but Kenvy's still here. Might be able to clean things up, and Kenvy's going to leap in, gets the smoke screen down, but no follow-up damage there for 100 Thieves.
Great black shield there to keep the Renekton alive. Could have been in some trouble there. He's very squishy, but a fight's about to break out. Gyu's going to go in.
Oh, Gyu's in again, pops the Shroud. No, dancing back in the brush instead. So Soligo going back, that's going to force Gyu to flash away, and Kumo also again has the Black Cleaver, has the Blade, but not that tanky. It's tough for EG to face tank a lot of these carries out of 100 Thieves. Matt going to get a binding though. Kumo is just going to destroy poor Breezy. And now it's a 5v4 EG, find the pick they need.
Huge bind there, taking out the Karma, and they might actually learn that Karma is a much bigger threat than she seems. Already building that Grail, she had it ready for that last fight, keeping the team alive and well, and that is just such a nuisance to deal with when she can boost up her allies and keep them all topped off. That is a double chalice. Now, what is that going to end up being?
That is a good question. Because if memory serves, that item only builds into that item. So I'm going to try and see if I can find out. Let me figure out what parts of Athene's are not unique, because of course unique passives do not stack. I guess it is relatively gold efficient.
Oh, and then it's a Crucible, right? That's true.
Oh,
Crucible.
I was wrong. It does build into more than one item. All right, we solved it. It's Crucible. Detective Crumb's on the case. Patron needs to relearn what items build out of what items.
Oh, I just Googled it, so I don't know either.
Crumbs don't give it away.
You know, yes, they say a good magician never reveals his illusions, but I also want more magicians to exist, so how else could you train someone?
Ah, classic magician conundrum, as Gyu is once again looking for a flank, surprising 0 people, and certainly hopefully not 100 Thieves, who are lining up to take their 3rd dragon of this game. Prismal is starting to let it rip. Oh, Kuma's found him though. That's a big stun. Kuma's just going to ride into the backline. That's a big shutdown as the rest of EG are going to ride in, but Kenvy has found 1 kill. Fake God also trying to get another, but Gyu, of course, is diving in. Wants to get a kill here. He's looking for Kenvy, but the Stange United is going to keep him alive, but Fake God now has been interrupted, but back he goes to the Spirit's Refuge, and no one else from 100 Thieves will fall.
So I don't know if EG actually is that clean that they timed the Shen ultimate, because it was not available when Kumo found Prismal. It was down for maybe 5 more seconds. You saw how quickly it came out to save Kenvy later, but here's 2 TPs. They're going to be late for the Dragon, but another fight is breaking out.
Black Shield here, Fake God trying to get more picks for his team, but definitely pretty strong. 2.5 items right now for the Caitlyn. But they have to run. 100 Thieves have good chase here. Soligo with the flank is definitely standing his ground on Kenvy. Soligo dashing back in. Here's the TP in now on the EG side as the arrow is going to miss. And it's Kuma that's running back in. Very speedy with the Black Shield on. Home Guard's ready to go. He wants Kenvy. He's going to try and lock him up. He's going to grab the stun. And Kenvy now will fall shortly. Yes, definitely able to find the final auto as Ander has tagged up Breezy as well, but is not going to follow. EG showing a little bit of restraint here, but they do get a second pick.
Oh, the pick and the momentum back. They get the Dragon, they get the blue buff steal, but more importantly, they feel like they have a hold on this game again. The gold is dead even, but wow, Renekton finally showing up. Kuma doing such a good job in finding Prismal when he was most exposed, pops him right away, doesn't even give 100 Thieves a chance, and when the Ashe goes down, it's so much easier for the rest of the team to deal with the carries. LeBlanc and Graves are much more cooldown dependent, whereas the Ashe could just stand and deliver with the Karma being there. The Mikhails is finally built, so maybe what Breezy was thinking is, I need to make sure that Prismal stays alive, and if I can bail him out with a QSS, with my Crucible, and buy some time for Shen to get there, there's no way we'll lose a fight.
Well, 3 items finished for both ADs now as the rapid fire cannon is now completed for Deathly. So both these marksmen ready to go as far as upcoming engagements are concerned. Soligo also still running the side lane here. 2 items almost done for him. He's actually working on Deathcap second by the looks of things. Has a couple of components there, but no finished second item just yet. Still has a number of options he could select from, though, as Baron seems to be the current concern for both these teams. We are pretty late into this game. EG almost ended it last time around.
What?
There's a great arrow hits onto Deathly, and Soligo just collects his gold.
What a pick. That's Baron. 100 Thieves should definitely just go start this objective. You've got Shen ultimate available. You have the Karma shields to tank this. Now it's up to EG to go for a 4v5. Caitlyn won't be up, won't have teleport. How does 100 Thieves play this out? Because they are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, this seems tough. FLICKR's got the ulti as well if he needs to charge in, so maybe a steal. I don't really know what EG can do here, but Gyu's going to go for it, of course. He dives in, he's going to try and get a pick. He needs to kill the jungle, if anything else, but Gyu's going to dive in. They're going to take the team fight instead. Kuma also charging things up. Prismal already dead as Gyu over to the back line. He gets a second kill, takes down the bottom lane by himself, and now going to flip back to Kenby. Gyu is going off in this team fight. Make it a triple kill. Give the man the incoming Pentacus. FLICKR is going to fall to Ander, and it's looking like an ace here as Saligo going to try and run away. Double distorts out to safety. He's going to be fine, but Gyu completely saves that play. Oh, he's doing it again. He's on to Saligo. Out he goes, flashes in, he found the right one, but the distortion keeps him safe.
Wow, and they can go for this now because Caitlyn is back online. She could just be on her way to the Baron and say, "You're welcome, guys. Now we can start the Baron. Thank you very much. Well played." But that fight was all the Akali. I mean, I really liked what Matt and Anda were doing, just buying time and splitting 100 Thieves' focus. They did not know where the attack was going to come from. They just knew that it was going to happen eventually, and when they pulled off from the Baron and the Graves was left alone, that's exactly when Gyu went in. I'd love to see what happened. That Prismal got taken out. Arrow trying to steal.
Good block. There's the smite. You can still use it while you're stunned, of course. Don't let your jungler trick you into thinking you couldn't smite.
Hey, don't give away my secrets.
I mean, this arrow is so good for Prismal.
Yeah, he has flash, but you really can't blame him there for not flashing that one. You got to be really on point to avoid that one. But this is where it all played out. So they know that Gyu is from the top side because he was farming the top wave, and they also see that Anda is here because Soligo spots him out. So by now, they actually don't know where Gyu is at. They're a little bit scared. They anticipate that he might be with Matt and Anda, and the Shen gets used on the LeBlanc. So by the time that Gyu goes in, Prismal is already surrounded by a Renekton and an Akali, and there's no one to help him out. And if Ashe goes down, we've already covered how easy these fights look for EG.
Yeah, it just felt like 100 Thieves could decide on a call there, like peel off or finish off the Baron. And just a good job from EG buying time, kind of corralling 100 Thieves around the pit, and then Gyu almost found the follow-up kill there, which was ridiculous. But unfortunately for him, merely a triple kill. But also the Baron, so EG are going to be pretty happy with the situation. They're up 4,000 gold now, completely turning this game back around. Gyu not only saved the game, he's now gifted over a lead to EG, and it may be too many games too late, Crumbs, to learn that Gyu, yes, in later might not have been that bad, but this champion is so problematic to keep giving over. He was 0-3 at one point, and he is still carrying this game.
Basically, the champion was problematic in Gyu's hands before it was buffed. Now that it got buffed, he could definitely have a hard early game and still deliver later. And there is a QSS on Deathly now, so you can't actually make that same play against him. They're going to fall back and retreat into the Dragon as they claim the turret and not the inhibitor, but they are still getting what they want, which is more gold to the pockets of EG to make sure that these fights are even more one-sided.
What a deep TP from Saligo. It has been spotted, of course. The EG are going to be contested for this Dragon. 100 Thieves are playing a very dangerous game here. The Gyu back onto the Dragon. He goes, 100 Thieves, though, here in the area, ready to go. Binding almost hits Prismal, and is going to have to get himself out of the pit somehow. Gyu's getting slowed. Prismal moving himself forward. He wants to get the kill onto Matt, but Gyu not going to press the E button to go back in. They want to contest with the Dragon instead. Envy gets it. Definitely getting low as well, but Kumo is just ripping through again the front side as Prismal is just getting way too low. Gyu's going to try and finish it off, gets one kill, going to make it a second, I believe, as he dances in onto Breezy, but the taunt is good. Into stasis goes Gyu, and looking for the follow-up here as EG just keep dancing around these fights, and 100 Thieves, they're taking these aggressive lines to try and salvage the game, but EG just keep on punishing.
They punish, but they don't get to catch FLICKR, who had some really nice fancy feet at the end of that one to not get tagged by the Lee Sin. And that fight, yes, you got the Dragon, you put yourself on Soul Point, but I feel like the game has gone beyond Soul Point as a win condition here. It is just something else. You got a celebration arrow there. It was trying to catch out Gyu.
Oh no.
And
Gyu, oh, so close. That Q, like a fraction of a second away from killing Kenby as he dashes over to the wall. But Gyu is just taking charge of this game. And yeah, I mean, overall, you look at the trade, 100 Thieves actually did win out on that exchange, but the edge in this game, the feeling that we're getting is that EG are going to be able to come back in this game and finish off the sweep. But 100 Thieves are going to do everything in their power to make me a liar.
Yes, well, the Ashe is a very real threat still. They were not able to kill her once again in the immediate beginning of the fight, and even though a lot of bursts came her way, I think that final taunt, like you said, from FLICKR to actually catch the Akali before the Q cooldown came back up, or that she had enough mana to use it, made a huge difference. But the death cap is now available, and there is not an ounce of magic resistance among the 3 carries of 100 Thieves, so they are just waiting for Akali to just jump on them and one-shot her.
Yeah, you know Giyu's feeling it when he goes Death Cap third. The last 2 games he has gone Zhonya's after Leandri's and Gunblade, so he knows that he's in a position to carry this game, and he's going to make the purchase best suited to that role. Also, massive credit to Kumo being the absolute hero in all these team fights. Like, EG don't have very many ways to get stuff done in 5v5s, and Kumo has just put his body on the line time and time again and found the stun on the key target. I mean, we're like wondering, like, you know, how good is Renekton? How blindable is this champion? Is this something that people need to be paying more attention to? I'm starting to think after a couple games of Renekton that might be the real deal in more situations than we traditionally expect Renekton to excel in.
He absolutely is. I mean, the slice and dice gives you a very long, effective range at which you can jump one of these carries, and if you have the items that Kumo has, which are all about just hard DPS on a single target, that Ashe is not going to survive for long when the Renekton gets to jump him, and there's additional follow-up from the rest of the team as well. So it's the value of just one-shotting squishies and being able to be so consistent at doing it that gets Renekton first picked, and just it's one of the most common top laners that we have currently.
Battle of the ADs continues though. Definitely and Prismal both firing at top speeds with 4 items almost done for each of them. Definitely did have to make a stop at the QSS, but going to feel a lot safer in these team fights as a result. And there's the Static Shiv now finished up as well. So definitely 4 finished items and the QSS now on top of it all, as EG are going to line up for this Baron because it is back in spawning. Dragon up in a minute 25 as well. Definitely just zooms in and headshots Prismal with the RFC. That's very creative. But Prismal thankfully should be able to lifesteal up nice and quickly if he can find a wave to go hit. Ace in the hole into Kenvi. Follow there for Ander. Matt looking for the binding. Flashes in, predicts the flash, or dash, and doesn't get it.
Ambitious, to say the least. There was going to be a Shen ultimate on top of that if they actually committed that, and the Akali was not there to add most of the burst that they're used to when it comes to taking down these squishy targets. So I actually think EG's quite glad that that didn't work out, because Kenvi would have been hard to kill, but they're going on Renekton.
Yeah, Kumo flashes out, though, has the Merc Treads. Now the re-engage is coming. TP in from Giyu. Soligo's not here, and it does find the first engage, but Kumo again just finds Prismal. Giyu's in the backline, and that's the shutdown. Definitely have to get the kill. Redirect now for Giyu as he dives into the rest of the team, and already the double kill for the Caitlyn. Make it a third as Giyu is now unstoppable as he picks up the third. And EG looking to finish off this game, Crumbs. They're not going to need Baron to do it.
There's a big wave in the bottom lane, and Soligo does not have a lot of mana, so he will actually have to go back to base. He's not going to be alive or around to defend this wave thus far. With a Caitlyn and a Morgana, they could definitely end it here.
Yep, they're going to go for it as well. It's only a couple members of 100 Thieves left to try and clear out these waves and protect the Nexus. Soligo dives in there, TP down onto that cannon creep for Kuma, I think, to keep it alive so the turret would die. But 100 Thieves not going to spawn fast enough. Anders going to get the pick onto Breezy. They'll finish off the final Nexus turret. Anders going to kick Soligo out of the way as he's taunting the Thieves in front of their own fountain. But that is going to be the ace and the sweep as 100 Thieves will finish off... Sorry, EG will finish off 100 Thieves in playoffs.
EG looked so clean today, Pastry. This was not the EG we saw in the regular split. They have ramped up. They have came out swinging with some of their best picks, the Akalis, the Nidalees, and a dominant bottom lane in 2 games. And FLICKR, yeah, his scoreline may not have been that impressive, but dang was he effective in finding those key targets. Like you called out the Ashe in that crucial mid-game fight that was when 100 Thieves had the most momentum. They shut it down and got hold of the game once again.
Yep, Gio grabbing the spotlight, but definitely a Best Supporting Award over to Kumo in those games on the Renekton, especially. A close game 3 at the end of it all, but EG do manage to finish off the sweepers. We are going to step away for a quick break, but when we return, we'll be back for the Verizon post-game interview with Evil Geniuses Deftly. Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I'm joined by the victorious Deftly as they swept 100 Thieves Academy out of playoffs. Deftly, how's it feel, man?
Honestly, it's been a roller coaster of a split, and especially taking down 100 Thieves, I think they were like our kryptonite for the past 2 splits, I would say. And even mine, I played Academy last year with Cloud9, and we got taken out, I think it was like 3-1 in the playoffs against them. So it feels nice, like finally getting revenge and winning out here today.
How are you actually feeling about your bottom lane matchup then? Because obviously Prismal and BreezeMe have looked pretty good, although there's been lots of changes to the 100 Thieves bottom lane and personnel in general. Obviously you and Matt have been around for a while, so what are you expecting coming into today's 2v2?
Honestly, I didn't really think too much about it. I feel like if me and Matt just focus on ourselves, I think we have been playing really well individually, and I think the meta suits us really well as well right now. So I think, I didn't really have any worries going into this bottom lane matchup, and I don't think I will for the rest of the playoffs, really.
Confident words there. Are we surprised at all to see that Ezreal was like so high priority for 100 Thieves? Because that was the thing that Crumbs and I couldn't figure out. It's like, we know about Caitlyn, we know about Ashe, we know about Kalista, but Ezreal was just a champion that wasn't really on our radar nearly as much.
Yeah, honestly, that Ezreal first pick surprised me a lot, since I feel like right now the best ADs are like Caitlyn, Ashe, Kalista, champs like that. But on blue, they were kind of self-banning Caitlyn and Kalista. And then when it came to them playing red side, they opened Caitlyn, which kind of didn't really make sense to me. Maybe they had a different plan around it, but I think Ezreal's really good if your team is really good around playing away from bottom and also playing towards mid prio later into the game, because that's what Ezreal excels at, poking. But I felt like they didn't do the best job on playing with their mid prio in game one.
Yeah, makes sense there. And thank you for your thoughts just generally on the matchup. Thinking about your team, though, now and how you did say it was a bit of a shaky ride throughout the regular season. What happened between the season ending and playoff starting? Because it does feel like we're getting a very different EG.
Well, I think, first of all, our 9-9 scoreline in the regular season isn't really indicative of how good we are as a team. I think in the regular season, we tried a lot of new things and also lost a lot of games that I feel like we should have won. Like, our practice has always been really solid since the beginning, and I feel like we've finally become a more cohesive team. Like before, I think we were just doing a lot of individual plays and losing the game. But I feel like now more than ever, we're playing as a team and we're able to play through multiple lanes, which I'm really excited about. Because I felt like last playoffs in spring, we weren't able to do the same. And yeah, just this new EGA, I think, is really strong.
All right, are you feeling confident about your team's chances of taking it all?
Yeah, I'm really excited to go back to finals again and try to get our revenge on Cloud9. They had our number last time and 3-0'd us, but I think this time around we definitely have a better shot, and I'm looking forward to take Diamond's head.
All right, so on that note, of course, you were in finals, you're looking for it again, but before you get there, you do have round 2 to play, and it will either be against Cloud9 or TSM. So whichever they end up choosing, I'm curious, what do you think about your potential opponents? Because both TSM and Cloud9 Academy have looked quite strong this split.
Yeah, I'd say Cloud9 Academy and TSM Academy both have been doing really phenomenally in the regular season, but I think our team, we didn't really do too well against them the recent times we played, and we had like shaky games, but I feel like this past week of practice, we've really cleaned up our play a lot. So I'm looking forward to rematching either of them. I don't think we'll have trouble with either of the teams, really.
All right, but honestly, based on those 3 games, I think they have right to be afraid. Definitely thank you so much for talking to me, and congratulations on your win today.
Thank you.
All right, with all that, we are going to throw things back to wrap out the day, so don't go too far. We'll end things up in just a second. Oh, there's this. Take a look at how Game 3 ended, Crumbs. Kind of an interesting 3-0. Like, I think every game was quite different in that series, but at the end of the day, what matters is that Evil Geniuses are the team that are moving on after taking down 100 Thieves.
Very different every game except for the mid lane.
Yep.
Right? Everything was the same except the Akali. You got 3 games on Comfort and looked pretty great doing it. But despite him being on Comfort, first game was kind of close. Second game was a bit of a stop. Third game, though, 100 Thieves came out swinging. They really started going really well for them with how well the bottom lane was doing, just hardcore pushing. They were gaining advantages for the team. You knew you had the Shen and LeBlanc coming up. So there were some fights where they were doing pretty well. It was up until it got chaotic and the Renekton started getting involved with Akali that it got a lot harder to handle the multiple threats attacking the immobile backline.
All right, let's take a look at one of the earlier situations where 100 Thieves actually were looking quite good in their team fights. Around 24 minutes in, 100 Thieves just battling here as Giyu again is just diving straight in.
This was after he was just pushing the bottom lane, and then Renekton comes in, flashing in to try to get Kennedy, but he commits everything, his dashes, his flashes, and this gives time for Prismal to just hammer away, hit those volleys, keep hitting your auto attacks and slowing people down, and once again, LeBlanc is caught. Not a big deal, though. Here comes another fat volley, catches a bunch of people, and he can just distract anybody. He can hit whoever he wants because he's got a Karma that already had an Athena's Holy Grail and a Shen ready to back him up with a flash taunt.
Yeah, I feel like definitely also didn't think FLICKR had flash there because I don't think you'd phase check the Shen just like that. Although also he's like on the wrong side of the wave, so maybe there's actually nothing definitely can really do to get out, so he did at least try and take someone down with him. But 100 Thieves, that was kind of the peak of their good news because despite the lead they had, EG somehow kept pulling out team fights. We'll have another look at this one after a dragon. This was where I think Giyu went Super Saiyan.
So this is very difficult for 100 Thieves to already approach because they've already lost the Baron, but then you have Giyu that gets to go in, and look at this, he's just about to Q Prismal and wipe the floor with 100 Thieves, but a really great taunt from FakeGod keeps their team alive after they already were retreating.
And then, of course, they ended all off the triple kill plus the Baron that basically ended the game for Evil Geniuses. I've talked a lot about Giyu. This was a great pick from Prismal. But unfortunately, the rest of the play does not go as planned. Giyu completely saves this Baron.
Starts with the arrow, you know you have some time, but you're already getting split up because you want LeBlanc to be on the side, so it's a lot harder for 100 Thieves to commit to this, and in hindsight, I think the call might have been better to just go for a fight because you have the Shen ultimate and the LeBlanc. Instead, they commit to the pit, and that gives Giyu the opportunity to go in coordinated with the Renekton, and yeah, Renekton goes down, but he does such a good job in buying time for the main carry, which is going to be the Akali, and we really would have liked to have seen a pentakill happen here. It didn't.
I was ready, Crumbs.
Yeah, I was hoping. I was like, oh, he's going to get hyped, he's going to start yelling because we get a pentakill in the academy, but it didn't happen.
Not this time around. And we did say Giyu's name a lot in this series because he did play so well on the Akali. But again, I do want to put some attention towards Kumo, especially that second replay we saw where he was just diving in on Prismal and making life miserable. Like, Renekton, again, not a champion you think about who dives into the backline of a team fight and disrupts that much. Like, you think Renekton in a 5v5 is just kind of going to spin around and then die. But Death Dance, whatever it is, Dominus ticking away. Like, Kumo is showing that I think Renekton is a champion that many more teams will have to be considering.
He knew his job was get in there, find the carry,
kill Prismal.
Do as much damage as you can, and if you die, you're fine. Because when you go in, we'll back you up, right? Our engage is not that good. Your body is the engage. Make sure you get it done. And so he did every time, and Giyu was there to follow with him, and the rest of the team had Black Shields or Caitlyn ultimates to also assist on the dives.
Yeah, lots of ways to finish things up, but with all that now, let's have a look at the playoff bracket, Crumbs, because we are moving forward here for the Academy playoffs, and there are some spicy matchups up ahead. TSM are going to be playing EG there, as Cloud9 did select CLG as their opponent.
Okay, I mean, I respect selecting CLG. If you look at the entire trajectory of the year, CLG started at 10th place and got here now, whereas EG was a finalist last time, so it makes a lot of sense to have EG play TSM and let TSM deal with them, and maybe we can see more of EG because we didn't actually get to see that much from them because of the way that they drafted. There was not a lot of variety, so I think because of the 5-game series that you got to see from CLG, it's a lot easier for Cloud9 to prepare, knowing what you're up against, that we have seen so much more from the opponent.
Yeah, and we did hear a lot of confidence from Jeffley, who clearly wants to run back in the finals versus Cloud9, so at least that path is also open if EG can get through TSM, and both those matchups lining up to be quite exciting. We'll be back next Thursday, though, with our Academy semi-finals, so until then, join us for LCS action tomorrow, where TSM takes on Dignitas after getting upset by the Golden Guardians.
Ooh, it's Stardock's revenge, Pastry. I want that to happen so badly. That is such a great opportunity to upset the team that kicked you in spring in the lower bracket as well. Oh, it would just... It's a really exciting one. I really cannot wait for that.
Yep, best of 5 on Saturday, best of 5 on Sunday, as well as EG take on 100 Thieves in a different way. They'll be playing in the LCS on Sunday there as well. But that's going to do it for us here. Now, on behalf of myself, the Pastries, that's me and the entire remote broadcast crew. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more playoff action. Good night.
Good night.